I think
Jamie was giving us the almost double gun finger. Not yes.
3, 2, 1.
Tom Papa, sans glasses. You got a new look right now, buddy. You just said fuck it.
Well, they're
Reading glasses?
dirty.
They're dirty?
No,
Oh.
they're progressives.
What's that mean?
That means the top.
Oh, like
helps them see.
bifocals?
Yeah, it's 3 levels.
Oh.
Far, medium, reading.
Fuck, dude. When are they going to fix that?
It's pretty good.
Fix
what, your eyes?
Yeah, I only have I have reading glasses that I've worn over the last few years, like 2 or 3 years. Like right around, I think I hit like 46, and that's when it just started going. Like I'd look at my phone, like, hey, why does that look like shit?
It really is bad.
And then Adam Carolla did my podcast, and he left some glasses over. He left reading glasses,
Right.
and I picked up his reading glasses, and I put them on. And I went, fuck.
I can see.
I can fucking see clear now. Shit.
I know. It's really frustrating.
Oh, dude, it's
And
weird.
I can't wear contacts because I have a scar on this eyeball
Whoa.
from, I don't know what, the only thing I can think of is, he said it was something as a child. There was a pillow fight I had with my friend Keith in like 3rd grade, and I remember him hitting me in an open eye and just being down for a while. Like,
Whoa.
But just as kids, you're like, ow, that hurt.
Right, but you
That's
developed
the only
a scar
thing
there.
I could. So there's a scar on the outer layer of my eyeball.
Can they do something about that? Can they like?
No, I mean you can start messing with it, but this guy is like a really good eye doctor. And he's like, don't mess with it if you don't have to. But if I look through that eye, it's a little cloudy always, even with the glasses. So
Wow.
this one, because of the little bumpy scar, I can't put a contact on, so I'll go with the glasses. But you say it's a new look when I don't have glasses on. I just had these glasses for like 2 years. But everyone
You get used to people
Yeah.
wearing glasses.
Isn't it
you know?
funny?
Like Greg Fitzsimmons wears glasses, and sometimes he doesn't wear glasses, and I'm like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
man.
What do you like better? What's Tom Papa to you?
I just like you, buddy.
Aww.
I don't really care if you wear glasses. But glasses are the odd thing that makes girls sexy. There's something about a girl wearing glasses that's kind of sexy.
Yeah, it worked in every 80s movie.
It's always like girls pulled up, with their hair pulled up, with
Yeah.
a tight blouse, and a skirt dropping off papers.
Why is that?
I don't know.
A smart girl is
Yeah.
sexy.
Yeah,
And then
for sure, right?
But then she, at the end of the movie, takes it off and gets all slutty and lets her hair down.
Yeah. Is it like an alternative thing? Is that like what it is? Like you see the girl with the glasses and you're like, oh, she's different. She's out there reading and she's focused.
Yeah, she's got her act together.
She'll know I'm full of shit.
I want.
She'll be able to see my flaws. Maybe she can help me.
She'll know if I really read those books. I don't know if you think it's the same for kids now though, because there's so many weird looking kids now. Like when we were young, it was like the glasses girl or like the blonde girl, the cheerleader girl. Now everything's so mushed together.
You mean like what is attractive?
Just like the classifications of people. We had like teams that you were a part of.
Right,
You were
you're a
like the jock
nerd.
or the nerd or the
What were you?
burnout. I was a jock and class clown.
Oh, you were a class clown.
Yeah.
What were you
I was jock,
jocking?
but like I had a lot of friends because I was the class clown, so I wasn't a douchey jock.
Right. You just liked sports.
Yeah, I was. I played football from kindergarten until I graduated, and then I was the captain. I was all league.
No shit.
Yeah, it
I
was
didn't
good.
notice about you, Tom Papa.
Yeah, I was a fullback.
How many head collisions did you have?
Tons.
How's your head?
Fine.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends who you're playing against. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we were a white suburban school running into other
White suburban
kids
that were going like this.
we played in a scrimmage, Passaic, New Jersey, which is like one of the big cities, you know. And they had Ironhead Hayward. Remember that guy? He went pro. Big man, giant man-sized black man from Passaic. And we scattered like deer. Just we saw him coming after our all-white league, and then not just a black guy, but like an ultimate gigantic
Jesus
black guy.
Christ!
Yeah, that guy.
Oh my God! Look at the size of that guy.
He-
when you see him, especially with football pads on, the shoulder pads, you're like, oh my God! How big is that guy?
Oh, and they would just hand him the ball and just tell him to
Jesus.
run straight.
Yeah. What are you gonna do about that? That's so not fair.
No.
That's why I think fighting is so much safer, because there's weight classes.
Yeah, right.
Like, a dude like me and a guy like that should never be involved in an altercation.
No way.
That's just not fair. How big is he?
No.
He's only 5'11", 265. Jesus Christ.
So thick.
He's a tank.
From his back to his front on the side was probably 6 feet.
Do you know how thick you have to be 5'11", 265? That's what Mark Hunt is. Mark Hunt, the kickboxer who fights in the UFC, he's so thick. He's like 5'10", 5'11", 265. Just fucking massive.
That's massive.
Samoan, though.
Wow.
He's the super Samoan. Like, Samoans in general are really powerful people.
They're just a thick people.
They are a durable, powerful race of people. It's amazing. Because you need to think about it. Those people, the Polynesians and, those island folk, they were traveling in canoes back and forth across the oceans. It probably required severe physical strength, right?
Yeah.
But when you see Polynesians, Hawaiians, a lot of them, they're fucking stout people.
Big time. Meaty.
Well, just
but
built,
athletic meaty, like
just built,
solid,
built, fucking powerful.
But they're big down low too. Mm-hmm. So when you're in the canoe, you're just all upper body.
Yeah, but they gotta carry those canoes too, man. You gotta carry stuff. You're probably packing out your camps and running up hills and
eating coconuts with your feet.
Whoa, how would you do that? You hold it up
Samoans,
with your feet?
They were able to hold canoes over their head and then pick up coconuts with their toes as they walked. And bite it like an apple.
No, that's not true. You almost had me, son of a bitch. I was like, wow, I was going over in my head. I was doing it like I was like mimicking it. Okay, he's got the canoe. Why wouldn't they put the canoe down? I mean, what kind of a hurry are they in that he can't pick up a coconut? The whole thing was so confusing to me. And then when you said bite it like an apple, I'm like, he got me.
No, but while I was a kid playing football, there was I kind of went between groups, but there were the jocks. And the burnouts were the kids getting high in the back. And then there were the band kids. My kids are in school now. Those classifications don't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
They're
you don't
really
think there's some
mushed
jocks
together.
still? Like bros and jocks and skaters and
Yeah.
We're so old. We shouldn't be talking about these kids. They're gonna be mad. They're like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, old man.
Well, I literally, because I don't go to. I'm not in 7th grade. I got to ask questions, and they don't. They smart girls get high.
Wow. Like
Jocks,
bookworm
jocks
girls get
are
high?
in choir. It's more acceptable to be yourself. They grew up in a time when you could be anything and do anything,
that
and
real?
no one shit on you for trying things.
Is that real?
It's real.
That's amazing if that's true.
It's totally true. They have a whole different way of looking at the world. They look at the way we were raised as animals, just saying the meanest shit to other people,
Right.
and people just shitting on you for trying anything.
Yeah.
They look at that like it's caveman times. They're like, you would call someone fat?
Wow.
You would call someone retarded or gay? All that stuff is, it's a lot of word speak conversation, but it's manifested itself into the way these kids were raised, and they're sweeter and kinder.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
I know.
It's so fascinating to see like real cultural evolution, because if you go back, to the beginning of the 20th century and those poor people that were surviving through the Depression. And you ever read any books on the Depression?
Yeah, Grapes of Wrath.
There was a book, I think it was called McGurdy. It was by a guy named Bob Burns, who's a famous billiards historian.
Yeah.
And he wrote this book about a pool hustler during the Depression that traveled literally by train car like a hobo.
Wow.
From town to town, and found people to gamble with these bars, and they would hustle and pretend they didn't play very well and lose a little bit of money and then win money, that kind of stuff.
I like it already, yeah.
But it was a really depressing book, man.
Oh, really?
How
people were suffering?
People were suffering, and there was this one story where he was literally like knocking on this guy's house begging for food, and the guy brought him out some sausage, and and they had like a soup together, and he was just describing the food that this guy had given him, and like how wonderful it was and how amazing it was in that moment. Like he was literally dying, like his body was giving out from hunger.
God, in America
in
1929-30.
Is that when the Depression was officially?
Yeah, the stock market crash was 29.
It's so scary that the stock market is a real thing. Like I was trying to explain this to someone, like what my frustration with it is, because I was like, okay, you just look at it this way, right? And I don't know if you're a financial person, you're like, oh my God, you're so stupid. You really think it works that way? But this is what I'm saying. If you look at the world and you look at all the people, the number of people stays constant. The resources stay constant. Like there's kind of the same amount of metal, there's the same amount of silicon, there's the same amount of all the different materials we use to make things. Okay, the same countries are in place, the money's the same. What the fuck happened that all of a sudden everything's terrible? Like you have this state where like you have prosperity, everything's wonderful, people are doing great, then the stock market crashes.
Yeah.
And when the stock market crashes, all these people lose their jobs, and mortgage rates get fucked, and everybody's fucked, and it's just like this terrible period of fear, right?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, the Earth is the same. It's like almost like we create these disasters. We create these systematic, like they're like inside the system that we've created.
Well, that's what it is,
disasters.
and it's the system that we've built to survive and be able to trade goods and food and homes and the structure we built to live and be safe from the outside elements on this planet, right?
So weird.
When
man.
that thing has to run, and it runs by money, and money circulates all that stuff all around all the time. There's still money when all that stuff happens, but it's up here clogged with very select places. And then the rest, the flow just stopped. There's no more water coming to these tributaries anymore. And everybody goes tanking.
Such a goofy system. You know what that feels like? That feels like someone took Windows 95 and just kept upgrading it.
Right.
And now here we are in 2017. We don't get a new operating system. We get a new operating system for a fucking computer, which is not really that goddamn important.
Right.
Like all in all, if you could choose between a good operating system for life, a much better, more more updated operating system for civilization, or whether or not you could get online. You got online in 95. Your shit would work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're
100%.
writing emails? You're checking your Twitter? How much time do you take online?
Right.
It would work fine.
It would work perfectly.
As long as the web browser didn't crash, you could go to the websites. It was way more important to have a new operating system for life. We don't even touch that stupid thing.
You can't. It's too massive. And what really bothers me, and it's really been on my mind lately, is that you can't escape the herd. You can't. Right now, like everything was really crashing in 2008. I mean, that scenario that you're talking about where everything just stopped, like all the top people were like, the economy is grinding to a halt this afternoon.
Yeah.
That calamity, right, took everybody's savings and messed it up and all that stuff. So now, and everybody had to go through it. Now things have kind of come back, and they're coming back, and there's this Trump bump on the stock market. Things are really high. I mean, some people think it's a bubble, and this is just a false thing, and it's going to crash. And some people even say it's going to crash worse than 2008 if things go really haywire. My question is, if we know that, how do I get out of the way of the tsunami? Why do I just have to go with everybody else? What can I do with my money where I could be safe from these tides that take everybody?
That's a really good question, but I think the question that overwhelms that question is, why the fuck are we still doing it like this? That seems to be a better question, because it seems crazy.
Well, how are you going to reboot it? What are you going to do?
You're right. I don't know. You're right. I have fucking zero education in economics. I know almost nothing about how all that stuff works.
I did a show 2 weekends ago for these financial people. Really fun show. You know, it's like their private event. I'm talking to them after the show at the bar. We're, meet and greet kind of thing. And some of these guys who are our age, who are just economic guys, they're in finance. They start these conversations about buying and selling properties and shifting stocks and bonds and all this, and what are the bond market doing? It's like they're speaking Chinese, and I felt felt like a 10-year-old kid. I'm like, this is what the rich people talk about. I wish I understood some of that. You know what I mean?
You know what it's like to me? It's like when someone starts bringing up like chess moves when we're talking about specific chess games, like Kasparov playing some dude.
Yeah.
And then they start, rook to king 2, or I'm like, whatever the numbers are. And I'm like, what? What is he doing? Like, what's happening?
But and they go 7 in.
I knew a guy, and he went to prison. And when he came out of prison, he had learned to play chess in his head.
Oh, my God.
So he could sit there, and him and this kid, there was this kid who was this, it was a really, really interesting guy. He was a really tiny kid that used to come to this pool. He was super smart, but he was like this little, like almost like a fucking honey badger. Really funny kid, man.
Pool where you
he was like pick fights with people, and he was a tiny little guy. He was so little that people would be like, what is this guy doing? But anyway, he was super fucking smart. Super. I guess he just felt. Yeah, I guess he felt like he had to establish his place in the social pecking order because he was so little.
Right.
And it was a pool hall, and he was a really smart guy. So I think his strategy was like to yell at people. Like one time he yelled at me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What age?
Oh man, he was probably like 15 or 16.
Wow.
And I was 25. I was like, dude, why are you yelling at me, man?
That's funny.
Yeah, like, what are you, crazy? Like, what are you doing? I had to have a conversation with him.
Yeah, that's
I go,
weird.
dude, I'm not your enemy. We're arguing over a pool game.
Right.
Yeah,
just what's going on.
Yeah, don't say you'll take me outside. I go, listen, man, how old are you? And he goes, like 15. I go, dude, I'm not your enemy. We're trying to figure out who's right on a foul. You know what a foul is? Foul is whether or not
lifting your foot off, or...
like you're playing pool and maybe your tip touched the ball before it was supposed to, and then you try to ignore it, and then someone calls you on it, or the hit is bad, like you don't hit the number ball you're supposed to. If you're playing 9 ball, the other guy's supposed to get ball in hand.
Right.
If it's a competitive thing like a tournament, those conversations get pretty emotional. People get really upset. Like, I definitely did not foul. But all of a sudden he was like trying to start a fight.
And how tall was he?
Not big at all. Okay. And this is like right after I just maybe had my last fight. This was a couple of years before that. So I was still kickboxing. I was still training all the time. And I was like, this is the craziest conversation I can't believe I'm having with this little kid. And so I pulled him outside and I go, we just had, just kind of a down to earth. And he's
Did
like,
he get it?
you gotta get respect from these fucking people. I go, yeah, not like that, man. Someone's gonna hit you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you gotta be.
So it was a planned thing. But
He's
this
a
is for
smart
respect.
fucking kid. It was cool afterwards because I had this kind of conversation. He knew that if we ever did have a conversation before, I was never gonna go to a bad place.
Right.
I was just gonna talk to him.
Right.
So it made it a nice thing because he was a wizard. He's a really smart kid.
And for pool, is that like chess? Like,
oh yeah.
Like
It's a
being really
it's a big
smart.
advantage. Yeah, because you're also smart in the execution of your shot.
Right.
Like one of the things about pool is the execution of your shot should be almost effortless. You rely on your structure. You rely on your stance. You rely on your technique, and it's supposed to be like incredibly gentle.
Yeah.
And smart people can figure that out better than dumb people.
Yeah.
How to
just get up there and slam it.
Instead of slamming the ball, instead of using your muscles.
Yeah.
Instead, they stroke the ball where the weight of the cue is kind of doing all the work. The point is, this kid was so fucking smart that him and that prison guy would get together and play chess in their head.
Jeez.
And I would sit there like a stupid ape.
Yeah.
While these guys,
I know.
I sat there and I just pulled up a stool and I just watched them. And they were playing chess in they went through a full game in their head. I was like, this is so crazy. They know where all the pieces are.
It's so crazy. That's what it was like with these financial guys. It was like, you know what? They're just smarter because even if I was never that great in math, I could not have, my head isn't built for talking about that stuff. They're smarter in that area. I'll give them that.
That is what it's like when you hear them talking. It's like knight to rook 6. Like, what? Right. Where is that? What's happening? Where's the grid? I don't understand the grid. But it's even more complex because they're talking about dividends, bonds, and fucking...
I know. And they can make a lot of money because they just have that knowledge.
Sure. And some of them start doing coke.
And
then they get crazy
and leave their families.
Oh man, that's a business where people go off the rails.
But like, what can you do to protect yourself? Say Trump goes off the rails and the stock market goes down again. There's nothing you can do right now to prepare yourself for that.
Well,
you can put your money in cash, but then it's not growing.
I think the amount of pressure that guy's under is probably unmanageable. I think very few people can manage that pressure. I think that job's insane. I don't think it should be real. I don't think it should be a job.
It should be 5 people.
It should be a ton of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think 5 people's enough. I don't even know, man. I feel like it almost should be all of us.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be.
It seems like if you wanted to give your reason, Tom Papa, wanted to give your reasons why we shouldn't be engaging in some sort of a military action against North Korea or whatever's next. You would have to do it. You'd have to write it out, or you'd have to record it, right? You'd have to give a coherent reason why you feel, and that would be considered.
Right.
So you'd be like one person. Imagine if there's 350 million of us, or whatever the hell it is right now. Everyone having a single opinion, a nuanced, complex, comprehensive opinion on any sort of an action that anything in the government is doing that represents us. That's what the government is. I mean, there's these people, it's boiled down to a few people that are supposed to successfully represent us and all of our ideas, but there's no way they could know what our ideas are.
No. But you can come close to being like, okay, my town, if you go to Congress and be like, my state really thinks weed should be legal.
Yeah.
You can get that consensus,
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. I don't know how accurately
well,
they
it's
can
probably
do it,
really inaccurate in certain ways.
Right.
It's just, it seems to me
It is strange, though. I mean, to be that president, to be one guy, it really is a thing about, there is one guy on the top of Virgin or Tesla but they, it's their job to run things and have people doing stuff for them. It's almost a job that's more about poise and intelligence and patience than it is like, taking everybody's thing on. Yeah. That's what's so unsettling about the time right now. You want dad to be at the steering wheel and you feel good and safe in the back seat.
Well, that's why a lot of people are really excited about Trump, because he's confident. And if you're a confident older man who's successful, people there's a natural instinct, like an alpha chimpanzee instinct.
It's an alpha thing.
Yeah,
You're right.
There's a total instinct to try to acquiesce, and also an instinct to challenge. There's going to be a big instinct to challenge him because of who he is too.
Yeah, and he sees weaknesses and see where he can swipe out his ankle and.
It shouldn't exist, folks. This is highlighting what's wrong. And everybody's like, yeah, you don't know anything about politics. And you're right. I don't. I know so little about politics. I don't know a lot about a lot of things.
Who does? Nobody does.
But I know one thing. I know that I can see patterns and trends. I see them. I'm pretty good at it. And I see a pattern and trend in our communication, in our expression of ideas. It's like what you were talking about with kids today. I'm not surprised by that at all, and I'm excited by it because I think that people are more open-minded today. They're way smarter than I was when I was their age. If you talk to an average 10-year-old or 11-year-old, they know so much more about how the world works than I did when I was that age.
Just the amount of work they have to do in school is 10 times what we had.
But they're still all being trapped by the same system. They still have the same educational system, which I think is fucking bananas. You make kids go to school all day, and then at the end of that, you give them homework? How about fuck you? How many hours in a day is there? You're preparing people for suck. That's what you're doing.
Yeah. My kids, they're up till 11 o'clock at night doing work, not hanging out, not screwing around,
fuck, man.
Working.
That takes away the rest of your life. You need life. It's really important. You have to enjoy.
Especially when it's a curriculum in the public schools that is geared towards a manufacturing middle class.
Yeah.
Now they're still learning in that way.
Yeah. They're learning like robots.
If you want these kids they could work so much smarter about more up-to-date teaching methods and things that are going to apply to get jobs going out, then it's like, all right, spend a little time on that.
They're also training people to put their energy into things that don't bring them joy. They're training a certain kind of discipline, a certain kind of morose like dark gray cloud discipline.
You're totally right.
Go to the factory, hit with a hammer, but bang, bang. Stay alive. In order to stay alive, we have to work. Bang, bang, bang. Row those fucking boats across the ocean.
And you're a kid, like, but wait, I just want to hang out.
Skateboard, man.
Right.
Tony Hawk makes way more than you do, Dad.
I'm so much happier there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that want to do so many things, and they fucking could. They could.
But as a parent,
fuck all that.
I mean,
Make them go for it.
I've got two, and one is not into school.
Good.
Is not into it.
Pull them out.
And
Teach them at home.
She seems like a comedian. Like she is this.
Oh, pull her out.
She seems the same. She's funny. She doesn't care about authority. She's clever. Just not into school.
She's probably smart. She sees her dad.
She is, but she
sees her dad. He's like, this guy doesn't do nothing.
I know.
He sits around talking shit about bread.
That's right. That's exactly it. He's baking bread.
He's always smiling.
I either see him baking bread or going to a show.
Yeah, Billy's dad just had a heart attack.
It's true.
Billy's dad freaking out. And he works at a fucking financial institution.
Yeah, you don't go to work. You don't go to do this stuff. But as a parent, I can't be like, yeah, just hang out.
No, you can't be just hang out, but you can be like, find your groove, find a thing, and then get into it. I think introducing kids to things that they can get into is super important.
But what about the school thing? Can you, if your kid brings home C's, do you get on her, or do you say you got to step it up?
There's a real problem.
Stepping it up is making her that drone.
Well, there's a real problem. It's that kind of learning is boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, I was not into science at school. I can't get enough science as an adult.
Right.
As an adult, I constantly read Scientific American. I watch all those science shows on TV about fucking space and astrology.
They make it look
astronomy,
cool.
Rather. It's fascinating. Yeah. The Cosmos. You ever see the Neil deGrasse Tyson series?
The best.
I couldn't wait for that thing to come on every week.
We celebrated when that came on.
Look, science is fascinating. They find these 7 new exoplanets that they think can inhabit life. You're like, Jesus!
I know. They're like Earth.
Amazing. When I was a kid, I could not have given less of a fuck. I didn't care about any of it. I was like, boring.
Why?
It's boring teachers, man.
Yeah.
Boring teachers.
Yeah.
100%. If Neil deGrasse Tyson was my astronomy teacher in high school or taught astrophysics or whatever and taught it the way he teaches things, like when he talks about stuff, he gets you so excited about the ideas that he's talking about.
Yeah. And because he's intelligent and can explain it in a way that you'll understand and be excited.
I think his passion for it's real. Like he really is excited by it. And here's another thing. It's almost like it's engineered to be that way. And I don't want to get all fucking crazy Tower 7 on anybody. But if you look at the idea of school itself, why the fuck are they paying those teachers so little? I mean, teachers, they have arguably the most important job in developing your child outside of you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's you, the parent, and then the teacher.
Yeah, for sure.
And how many teachers are just kind of barely getting by with a total ceiling on how much money they can make?
You're right. Because my science teacher he wasn't like being paid. He was a stressed out, chain smoking, angry guy in bad, shitty clothes because he couldn't afford anything else. This guy's life pressures are so huge.
Yeah.
He can't be like jazzed about science.
Right.
He's worried about getting kicked out of his apartment and whether he's got lung cancer from chain smoking.
Yeah.
If you did pay this guy twice what he was making, he'd be relaxed, he'd be motivated, he'd be into it, he could spend more time putting together his lesson plans.
But if that's what you want to do, like if you want to be a teacher, they go, well, you know how much you were going to get paid.
Yeah.
But why? It's one of those things where you're getting paid that much because people have decided you're getting paid that much. They've decided to only allocate a certain amount of resources towards education.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, think about how much more money they spend on military.
Well, I was just going to say that. There's no talk right now about increasing spending for schools.
It's probably the most important thing we could do is make less losers, right? Make the schools better.
It is the most important thing. But is there an advantage to keeping some part of the population dumb?
Man, that's the big I don't think that's the big conspiracy theory, right? But I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it is just a convenience. I think once people are in a community that's poor, there's no incentive for the wealthy people that are in government or running government to say, let's allocate an inordinate amount of resources to try to rebuild these areas. They don't benefit from that.
Or people with money.
The only way you can get them to benefit from that, I saw that Chance the Rapper donated $1 million to the Chicago public school system. Congratulations to that guy. That's a fucking awesome human being.
He's a
Plus, ballin', if you could donate $1 million.
Yeah.
Shit, how much did you make, kid?
Yeah.
Hashtag ballin'. Yeah, man. I just think that it's not necessarily a conspiracy as much as it's just easy to ignore.
No,
like,
the people
those
making,
people don't have political influence.
And the people making the decisions put their kids in private school and they don't have to worry.
Exactly.
You know, if everybody had to go to their local public school, I bet things would change.
Well, it's worse because you're making things less safe because you're creating more crime, because you're creating more disenfranchised people,
Yep.
and you're creating more of a need to stay in your wealthy communities.
Yeah.
You know how it is. I mean, it is what it is, but it's something that there's no incentive to change. It's not like there's a giant amount of pressure to look at the same way we look at. We have to go to Afghanistan and make sure it doesn't fall apart. I mean, you fucking Chicago's falling apart, man. Like, what are you talking about? It's right there. Why do you have to go to Afghanistan when you haven't done shit about Detroit?
Yeah.
Detroit is completely. There's a lot of fucked up spots in this country where there's dangerous. Flint still doesn't have good water, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that still going on in Flint, Michigan?
Yeah.
What in the fuck?
And it's going to get worse now because they're cutting out they're abolishing the Clean Water Acts.
So it's going to get worse.
What's going to happen? Look, we all are nervous about a lot of different things. My only focus is the environment and what's going on with that, because that I care the most about, and I don't like my kids to be sick.
It's also something you can't pull back.
It's,
if there's
they're
financial
reversing
things,
everything.
Yeah.
They're reversing everything.
How's that?
Emissions on cars. They're going to come to California, who has the most advanced emissions controls, and it's working. They're going to force California to lessen the emissions restrictions the way that the rest of the country is, and they're going to go back like 20 years. They're changing emissions. You know what they're doing? They're not funding satellites that keep track of of climate change.
Yeah.
They're going to cut off the information so you don't complain when Miami's underwater. They're putting waste back in the waters. They're taking all the regulations off. The head of the EPA is the guy who sued the shit out of the EPA, hates the EPA. They're tearing it all down.
Can I ask you a question, Tom Papa?
Drilling for gas in Yellowstone. You want to see that? This is where they're opening the door for all of this. Yes, you can ask me a question.
Are you a cuck?
What?
Do you know what that means?
No.
People who are anti-Trump. When you are...
Oh, that's a cuck?
Yeah.
No, my only focus is what's going to happen with the environment.
It's also like...
It sounds more like a...
God damn it, what is the official definition again? It used to be cuckold, based on cuckold, which is like a man who likes watching other men fuck his wife.
Oh.
Because there's a whole like level of porn. And then what's the official definition now? It was confusing to us, but it's sort of a political thing. It's sort of like pretending you're progressive when you're not.
New one, I guess.
Oh, there's a new one. An insult that reveals sexual insecurity, misogyny, and fear of those who use the term. Oh, that's so ridiculous. Yeah, it's like this in GQ magazine. What does cuck mean? Why are you being called one? A weak, feckless, spineless, and decidedly pathetic specimen of manliness. It's a derivative of the term cuck. Okay, so that makes sense.
Cuckold.
Angry white people. Why angry white people?
Love calling people cucks.
Angry white men.
It's funny.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's a fun word to call people.
That is pretty funny. It was insulting when you said it.
Really?
Yeah, it felt like, what? No,
Well, you know
I don't
what? You
think
can still
I am.
say it on the news.
Yo,
It's
you
just
can.
like fuck, but it's with a C,
With a
and
C.
you can still say it. Well, he's a cuck.
So
That's
it's
the real
allowed.
problem. And the newscasters would be like, we'll be right back with the weather. They won't know. They don't even know what to say. You just say it right there. You can even say the word cuckold.
Cuck you.
And he loves cuckold erotica. You could probably say that on regular TV, and they would not be able to do anything about it.
Wow.
They'd be stuck. And you've just painted a ruthless image in their mind of some poor sobbing man. Or some fucking dude that looks like Ironhead is laying pipe to the lady.
They take you off to the green room. Look, we know you can say it. Can you just not? Stop saying.
Those people need to stop. All those people that tell you we know you can, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
don't say that word.
Just
Fuck
don't.
you. Fuck you and your magic words. What are you, a child? There's certain words you can't say. That is another thing that has to go. And it's being more and more highlighted by the internet. It's why you're seeing in television shows, like if you watch The Walking Dead, you'll see a lot of random use of swears.
Right.
You know, and you'll hear random use of swears on other shows,
Yeah,
on
on Conan
cable.
and
Yeah, on cable.
people say shit during their TV sets on Conan.
Shit, yes. Shit is okay.
Yeah.
We've changed it.
Right.
But you still can't say fuck. If you watch like Walking Dead, I don't think they ever say fuck. I'm pretty sure.
No.
See if they do.
I'm
pretty sure they just say shit and asshole, and they could say tits and.
My last Colbert, which I did in December-ish, they said I couldn't say fly open one ball out. I could say fly open one testicle out. Or I could say fly open everything out. But couldn't say one ball.
Doug Stanhope came up with an idea when we were doing our version of the Man Show that was a big fat failure.
Right.
But
A couple seasons.
Doug came up with this idea to do a game show where a dude had a box over his private areas and a light would go off whenever it was like you had an erection. Like, so the light, there's a red light. We control the light, obviously.
Right.
So it'd be like dwarves eating bananas, light goes off. You know, like guy's hairy ass, light goes off.
Right.
And they told us, Doug's name for the show was Make Me Hard. And they told us we couldn't have it called Make Me Hard. We had to change it to Make Me Stiff.
Right.
And we were like, what?
What?
And they're like, hard is just it's just not the right word. We think Make Me Stiff. And there's these two ladies that we're talking to that have nothing to do with comedy.
Right.
Like literally nothing. Like
Of
how is
course.
that? Stiff is actually more offensive.
Yeah.
It's like it sounds like a really dumb person. Hey, I got a stiffy over here, ready to stick my fucking stiffy in you.
It's disgusting.
So when we were doing this light, obviously we controlled. So we played this game show. So we couldn't call it Make Me Hard. We had to change it to Make Me Stiff. We
Right.
lost the argument. It was the stupidest fucking argument. And it was so indicative of how frustrating those shows can be.
Yeah.
We have all these fucking chefs in the kitchen. I just think it'd be better if he was wearing blue underwear. I just think it would look better. It would look better.
Yeah.
So he, the guy's lying there, and we have this woman come out, and she's got, you know, like these big juicy tits, and he's sucking on them, and she's climbing on him, and everybody's going ooh, ooh. And they put whipped cream on her tits, and he's sucking the whipped cream off of her nipples, and it was like heavy duty stuff. Then she pulls her pants down. She's got a dick.
Right.
Not only does she have a dick, she has a dick that looks like it had been poisoned. You know, because she's a transvestite or transsexual rather. And
what do you mean, like all bubbly?
She's a woman. I mean,
why
she's
look like
becoming a woman
poisoned?
because it like the estrogen is like had killed the dick.
Oh no.
It was like dark and like it was like a crispy French fry you get at Jerry's Deli.
Oh
Like whoa.
no. Oh,
It was just,
no.
but that was okay. That was okay.
all right, to
all
show
that
all
was
that.
okay. Yeah, I mean we had to blur the dick.
Right.
But that was okay. You
Yeah.
just can't use the word hard.
So weird.
So stupid.
So weird.
Hard's a bad word. Is hard a bad word? Fuck off.
Testicle sounded worse than ball to me.
Yeah. One testicle out.
Yeah, testicle sounds. Look.
What about
balls,
half a sack?
Ball's kind of fun.
Half sack.
Half sack out.
It says Negan said fuck a few times in that scene where he was that bat scene, I guess.
Oh,
There's an
did he?
uncensored version where he says it like 23 times.
An uncensored
Oh.
version.
I didn't see the real version, so.
That was the scene that made me stop watching that show. I was like, that's it. What am I watching? I'm watching a torture show. It's not.
Yeah.
This isn't a fun show anymore. This isn't a show where people are trying to get away from zombies.
Right.
The zombies are like inconsequential. You can like push them aside now. They used to eat horses raw. They used to tear a horse apart.
Right.
Now you can just kind of trip them and push them.
Oh, really? Is that what it's devolved to?
So stupid. Nobody gets killed by zombies. Everybody gets killed by each other. I was like, this is so stupid.
It's been on a long time.
That's enough.
Yeah, I watched.
enough.
I think I watched one season.
Yeah, I just can't. If it was like 28 Days Later zombies,
Yeah.
I think it'd be way better. I think
Yeah.
there's something about the fact these zombies are so fucking slow, and they never seem to starve to death. Like, explain to me how they're still going. Like,
Don't they eat brains?
But there's no one to eat. They're all zombies. They don't eat each other, which is bizarre as fuck. What do you have, like, zombie rules where you can't cannibalize each other? How come you fucks are running around looking for people that are moving? And you're moving and you don't eat each other.
That's
but
where we
you're
draw the
stupid
line.
as fuck. You have cloudy eyes. You can barely see. All people have to do is cover themselves with guts and blood, and they pass as a zombie, and they walk around you.
That's all you got to
Get
do?
the fuck out of here. Yeah. It makes
So
me
stupid.
mad. It makes me mad.
Makes me
Tom
mad,
Papa.
too. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Making up their own zombie-ass rules.
Yeah. Fuck you and your zombie rules.
Yeah, stick with the plan.
See those 28 days later zombies?
Those are the fast ones?
Those are the fast ones.
Yeah.
That's the ones I like. The ones that look like they're on rabies.
Yeah.
They just chase you.
Those I saw those in Thousand Oaks.
You saw a zombie like that?
Yeah, like a whole herd.
A
of
real
them.
one?
Yeah, I think
What was going on?
I was just
Sale?
what's that?
Was there a sale?
There was
A Black Friday sale?
it was Black Friday.
Is that the worst thing that we do as a culture?
It's yeah.
Trample over each other on the way through Walmart?
Yeah. Who does? Who does?
Who does that?
Yeah. I don't do it. Do you do it?
I don't do it, but a lot of people do it.
What people?
People I don't know. People on TV.
My
Some
kids
people
want to
love
do
it.
it. My kids are
No, don't let them do it. People
I'm
get
not.
hurt.
No, it's disgusting.
Well, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, you line up outside of a store
And run in and you save $10 or whatever the fuck you save.
I
How
got
much do you
this
save?
piece of crap. Yeah, how much do you save? Who cares? Why don't you make a nice little card instead of going to...
You know what though? There's
my-
things that become things. Like somehow or another they just become events. Like it used to be Devil's Night in Detroit, which was the day before Halloween. They would light houses on fire.
Devil's Night.
Yeah.
We
would
had
st-
Cabbage
It was
Night.
Arson Night. Wasn't it? Is that what it's called? Devil's Night? See if you
Literally
find that.
light people's homes with them in it.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if
We had
people were in it,
Cabbage
but I'm
Night.
sure it's happened.
You'd throw eggs at the cops and...
Cabbage?
It was called Cabbage Night
Why
the night before.
Why was it cabbage?
It was old-timey New Jersey. And one time there was cabbage in the fields.
Angel's Night is an event designed to mitigate criminal acts associated with Devil's Night in Detroit. After a brutal Devil's Night in 1994, then new mayor Dennis Archer promised city residents arson would not be tolerated. Yeah. Devil's Night is, scroll down to see that there's a
That didn't catch
definition.
on, though.
Yeah, well, the Devil's Night thing apparently was going on a lot. We'd hear about it in high school.
Really?
Look at that, flaming bags of canine feces in front of pork shops.
That's always fun.
Canine feces. Like you can't even say who says feces.
You
Who are you
put-
talking to? They say feces. Well, if you said shit, I would have never known what you were saying. So thank you for saying feces.
Isn't there something nice to using feces once in a while rather than shit?
Yes, if a scientist is doing it. If I'm talking to a scientist and he's like, "Well, it's really important that we get feces samples of these animals to
Right.
make sure that we."
You
know
don't
that
want
they're
your
healthy."
doctor saying, "Go shit in this cup."
I'm out here collecting animal shit. Make sure we got a lot of them. Those guys, I was watching this show on the Science Channel last night.
Oh,
and
yeah?
Science Channel, by the way, it's not all science. If
A lot of make-believe.
you leave that thing on, there's a lot of fucking, they get goofy.
What do
They
you
just
mean?
start selling UFOs and they start,
Oh,
you know,
really?
they do these shows, man, where there's a certain amount of experts. Like there's a guy, I really want to get him on. He's like the preeminent, like legitimately intelligent UFO expert. His name's Stanton Friedman. And he's like, I think he's a nuclear physicist, actually.
A real guy? Like,
Yeah. See if you can find his Wikipedia. I believe his name is Stanton Friedman. And he is and he was on one of those last time. But he's one of those guys, when you see him on one of those shows, you go, oh, I know, I'm watching a show about bullshit.
Oh, really?
Because he's a
there.
UFO guy.
Right.
And it's not that he's full of shit. He's like, he actually makes some real sense as far as like what kind of physics would be required in order to make a craft that can travel between worlds.
Right.
Is that the
But
UFO
if he's
guy?
on the show, yeah.
No, that's not the same guy. Civilian investigator of the Roswell incident? Maybe it is. Yeah. Where's his picture though? His picture looks weird. Oh, it's just a weird angle of him. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Stanton Friedman. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he was on the show last night.
There's
I was
gonna-
watching. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Next is Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly. He's coming. Sidekicks are coming. But before that, it was there was a show about this explorer that something. I forget his name.
Christopher
I
Columbus.
tweeted it yesterday to somebody in a response to somebody. I tweeted the whole incident, and then I retweeted this guy's name. But he was an explorer in 1925 that went into the Amazon, and he was looking for El Dorado, which is like this purported city of gold. There was a legendary story in the Amazon. Yeah, but there was something about him that I had tweeted earlier.
And a great car, the El Dorado.
Well, anyway, this guy in 1925 went to the Amazon and saw these mounds in the this is almost 100 years ago, and he wanted to investigate these mounds because he got on top of one of them and he looked out and he saw another mound. There, his name, Percy Fawcett. He saw another mound out in the distance, and then he realized that they were on a grid, and he realized that there's a city here. This is a city. He's like, oh my God, I'm looking. These aren't dirt mounds. These are
lost city.
Yeah, these are stone structures that the earth is sort of covered up.
Wow.
Yeah, because the Amazon is just so dense.
Yeah.
It just covers everything.
Massive.
So super recently, like within the last decade, they've got these satellite images of that area, and they found these pictures, like what Jamie just pulled up, that last article. See those images? That's all stuff that they found out from the ceiling, or from satellites, rather, from the ceiling.
Right. It looks like a
And
snowman.
They were saying that they did these, well, they're just, it's just paths and structures. There's a bunch of them, though. There's a ton of them.
When was this discovered?
Really recently. Really recently. So on the show, they were saying that they carbon tested some of these mounds, and they were over 6,000 years old. So
Really?
6,000 years old. This is the speculation. The show might have been wrong. But what they were asserting, and it could totally be true, because it definitely was some culture 6,000 years ago they're just finding out about.
Right.
But that 6,000 years ago, somehow or another, these people had created irrigation. They had created these pathways. They had made a grid, like a system.
Pretty advanced.
Well, it looked like a city. It didn't look like a settled group of tents or something like that.
How long have human beings been on the planet?
It's an enormous area too. It's bigger than Georgia. What does it say there? It could have maintained a population of 60,000 people, more people than in many medieval European cities. Wow. The structures were created by a network of trenches about 36 feet, nearly 11 meters wide, and several feet deep, lined by banks up to 3 feet high. Some were ringed by low mounds containing ceramics, charcoal, and stone tools. It's thought that they were used for fortifications, homes, and ceremonies, and could have maintained populations of 60,000. That's insane.
They sound fun.
Yeah, great people. They were cannibals.
Oh, yeah, but other than that.
The ones that he found.
Yeah, but other than that, they're fun.
Yeah. So he had these guides, and the guides were taking him to this mound. Obviously, this is, again, a wonky TV show.
Right.
Might have been bullshit. They go fast and loose with the facts in order to make those shows seem more fun, and they got me. And they were saying that he was told by his guides to stay back. They wouldn't go any further because there's cannibals, and he was never seen from again. The last contact of him, he ran into some other tribes. I was like, yeah, somebody probably jacked him. They probably knew even back then, the white people coming over from England. Like, what?
They just wanted his North Face.
He didn't have. Probably everything he had back then was probably super nice.
How long were people on the
Crafted in
planet, though?
People in
like
this form.
Yeah.
In this form. I think
making
it's
city
been
form.
150,000 years.
150.
I think so.
And what's the oldest, town that we found like that?
I think the oldest structures that they know of right now are somewhere around 14,000 plus years ago.
14,000.
As far as stone structures, when they
I went to one of the very first cities, which was in Beirut.
Ooh.
It was this, I forget the name of it, but it was one of the original cities, where they actually started to grid out and stuff.
Wow.
And but I don't know how long ago that was.
Well, let's find out what is the oldest known evidence of civilization, and what do they determine as civilization?
Yeah,
There's a bunch of shit.
Like functioning, we were hunter gatherers first, right? But yeah, I guess where do you draw the line? I guess when did you have girlfriends and have fun on a Saturday night?
When did you guys have a drive-through? That's when it all started.
So when I was at a food festival the other day, and the band. Pretty good band, these young guys were playing Elton John Saturday Night, and they were like, Saturday, 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 Saturday. And I was thinking, is that as important to kids as it was when we were I remember
because school
Saturday
school
was
makes it important.
What? It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Is that still the way it is?
Yeah, school makes it important. Earliest evidence of modern human culture found 20,000 years. Oh, wow. 44,000 years ago, over 20,000 years before other findings.
Modern human behavior.
So this is the earliest unambiguous evidence for modern human behavior has been discovered in an international team of researchers in a South African cave. Now, here's what's crazy. That is saying that the first evidence of civilization,
Right.
of modern human behavior, was 44,000 years ago. That's so crazy recent.
Yeah.
That's so recent. And then the earliest stone structures, I think, is that the stuff they found in Turkey. The really big stone structures in Turkey at Göbekli Tepe. I think that's the oldest right now, as far as like really complex. Because before then they weren't really convinced that people could do that kind of stuff back then. So that means in 30,000 years they figured out how to make that.
There's got to be like some older structures that they just haven't found that are way down or
Could
under
be.
the sea.
Yeah, I think they're guessing.
You know?
They're guessing with a lot of evidence.
That's a
But
good.
they're not guessing with a complete
Right.
supply of evidence.
That
There's
would
no way
be
they
cool
could
if you
be.
found this whole other culture.
Well, they
and
find
it
stuff
had
in
aliens
oceans.
in it.
Where they find stuff is in the oceans because the water levels
Right.
have risen since then. So they find like entire cities like underwater. That I think there's like probably some amazing evidence that they've never even discovered of
Right.
like ancient cities.
Oh, there's got to be.
But you got to think also that what was the city made out of? Because unless it was made out of solid stone, the
Yeah.
ocean's just going to destroy it. Like
Right.
the ocean crept over Malibu. Do you
Yeah.
think you would find anything in 3,000 years?
Right.
Right, what would you find?
Gary Busey. Is this thing on?
Wah, wah, wah. Lisa Rena, she'll still be at the bar.
What'll I find? A good time. Is this thing
Yeah!
on?
Who's got the pills? Come on, we're in Malibu.
It would
those
disappear.
houses would just vanish.
Yeah.
They would just totally vanish,
Yeah,
especially that
nothing-
salt water.
Nothing was
would
made
survive.
of metal. And
Even if it was, anything made of metal would give out after 1,000 years.
what about
It's
like
gonna be
old
gone.
ships and stuff that are down under the ocean?
They're not that old. There's some old
1700s.
ones. There's nothing that's like, yeah, I mean, there's probably some that there's remnants of it,
Mm-hmm.
of like the Roman times.
Yeah.
But think of that. What's that, 1,000 years?
Yeah.
Right? 2,000 years? 3,000 years? What about 7,000? What about 8? Nothing. You're not going to find a goddamn
40,000.
thing. So we're talking about more than 14,000 years old. If it was a city like this,
Right.
you ain't going to find shit.
But what if, just hear me out, what if it was covered with lava and you couldn't, and then
Couldn't
it
get to it?
solidified it like Pompeii? Crack that bitch open and we're rich.
Look at
We're
this.
rich.
Divers discover ancient Roman treasure trove in shipwreck. Whoa.
1,600-year-old shipwreck.
Whoa.
So there's still some stuff, but like the ship's gone. And
Look at the anchor, dude. They found the anchor.
Well, you
So
find
go back to that anchor again.
You
Can you
find
back
little
that up?
coins.
Look at that. Is that the anchor?
Yeah, that's a long anchor.
Fuck, that's so cool.
That is cool.
Imagine that. They would throw a giant hunk of metal overboard and
Yeah.
get it to snag.
So you don't move around.
And then they would hope that they'd be able to pick it up.
Look at that Roman
Whoa.
coins.
Look at the rare bronze statue. Holy shit, that's incredible.
You've been to Rome, right?
Yeah, just once. Just
Yeah, me
last
too.
summer.
Me too.
Yeah.
2 summers ago.
Last summer. And
Pretty mind-blowing, isn't it?
Fuck, man. Life-changing. The images are insane. Look at all the stuff they're finding down there. Wait a minute. That was a Statue of Liberty. Why do you have a Statue of Liberty? And get back to there.
Oh, wait, it's
Back
a
up.
souvenir
Back
shop
up.
on
What is?
53rd Street.
Someone's fucking with us, man. That's the goddamn
That
Statue
really
of
is
Liberty.
the Statue of Liberty. Holy cow. The French stole it.
It's about as close to the Statue of Liberty as you can get.
It really, she's just the same pose, just not holding the torch.
Well, look at the bottom of it. It's like a horn.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Is it like, do you drink out of that or something?
I think it's Poseidon.
What's...
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, what is it at the bottom, though? It seems like it's got... Doesn't it, Jamie? Does it
Yeah.
look like a horn? Like a buffalo
there's like
horn
an
or some
opening
shit?
of some kind.
Yeah, like maybe you drank out of that.
Right.
Maybe.
Aye, aye.
Yeah, that's probably a handle.
A handle?
I mean, if you flipped it upside down, like the maybe.
Could be,
To
I'll try to look.
Poseidon.
but it's the wrong way.
It looks like,
Like you would
like
want
a,
to see her if it was on a handle.
Oh,
You would
it's-
want her face facing the door.
It's a hood ornament.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It goes on the front of the car.
Oh yeah,
Remember
one of them
the-
baller old Buicks. They're like as big as a house.
The kids that lived across the street from me were like maybe 5 years older, and that was their thing to do on Saturday nights. If there were parties in the neighborhood with adults and stuff, they would go rip off everybody's hood ornaments.
Oh,
and
assholes.
They had a whole box of like the big ornaments from
Oh,
the
my
front, and then
God.
like the names on them from the side. They would just take a screwdriver and go take off people's hood ornaments.
Kids are such dicks.
They're such dicks.
Kids are such dicks. And when you give kids freedom, you let them go outside. They're like, I can go anywhere.
At night?
Let's ring that doorbell and run.
Right. Go, go, go.
Little fucking gremlins.
Yeah,
out
looking
there.
in your windows,
Yeah.
throwing eggs at your house.
That's why people give them homework. Do your homework.
Yeah.
Because you just let them be free. They just.
You just go nuts.
What?
I think it was a pipe.
Could be.
I
Yeah.
just found I was like looking for
Huge
horns.
pipe.
That's a big pipe.
Holy
there's,
shit,
like
they like to
ancient
party.
Roman pipe right here.
I like to party.
This might just be someone
That's an
made
ancient
it.
Roman pipe?
Someone might have made it in the style of
Classical
That's cool.
ancient Roman. I don't know about all that,
I
dude.
guess
That's
it's
got
a
a
big
plastic mouth. It's got, isn't that like plastic, or is that carved out of wood? That
can't
can't be
That's from
ancient.
Spencer Gifts.
Yeah. You get that if you
blows-
spend more than $100 at Forever 21.
Bubbles come out of it.
Yeah. They're trying to encourage pipe smoking now that Trump's in office. We're all trying to be pretentious. I smoked a pipe recently on the podcast, like a couple weeks ago. That
It's
pipe
good.
right over there.
I was going to bring a cigar,
fun.
but I didn't know if you could smoke a cigar in here.
Yeah, we could smoke a
You
cigar in
could?
here. Sure, yeah.
Ah.
Just turn on that filter thing and we could smoke a cigar. I think we smoke cigars in here, right? Yeah.
Wow.
almost positive.
Let's do that next time.
Fuck
I have a big
yeah.
thing of Cuban cigars.
Do you?
Yeah.
Did you
We
get
could be
them when they
big
were legal
shots.
or illegal?
Big shots.
Big shot, see?
Big shot,
Yeah.
see?
Nah.
Illegal. Through a guy I know in Vegas. It's not a big deal. I know people.
Hey.
How
Yeah, you
was
used to be able
Vegas?
to get them. Vegas was great.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was fun. The fight was weird, though. The main event, there was a lot of controversy. People thought it was a boring fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was just not a lot of action happened. It was a very tactical fight for most of the 5 rounds. Then the 5th round, Tyron Woodley cracked him and almost had him out cold, but
Yeah.
was losing most of the round in a lot of people's eyes before then. So the scoring was really oddly. It was really odd because a lot of people disagree with the score. The score was for the champion, but the first fight they had was a draw. And then a lot of people were like, well, if that first fight was a draw, this fight was a draw too.
Right.
Including the guy I was commentating with, Dominic Cruz, a former bantamweight champion. So it was.
So
a lot
when
of
you're in
people
that-
a lot of people felt disappointed.
When you're in that situation and you're broadcasting it, do you speak your mind? Like,
Sometimes.
if you think it's weird?
Sometimes,
or do you
but
like, I don't want to.
I didn't think in that case it was that weird.
Oh, okay.
I felt like I think the scoring system sucks.
Oh, yeah?
Do you know anything about the scoring system
No.
for MMA?
Uh-uh.
We essentially took the boxing scoring system and adapted it to MMA.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 10-point must system. And it's very difficult to get around to be scored 10-8. And the problem with that is I don't think it leaves enough room for accurately judging all the events that take place in a 5-minute period of combat sports because there's so many different interactions.
Right.
And I think those interactions should probably be judged on their own merit, like almost like there should be a way to quantify how much damage was done, whether or not it was the right thing to do, and it should be like probably 100-point score system or something like that.
A lot more factors.
Yeah, a lot more factors because
Right.
like the difference between a 10-9 and in one round and a 10-9 in another round, totally different fight. Like the guy's
Right.
getting dominated and he's clearly losing, and the other one it's a toss-up, and it's still they're both two
Right.
10-9 rounds. It doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Does it work for boxing because it's longer and it's just one
Yeah,
set thing that you're
boxing is just
doing?
one thing.
Right.
It's 3 minutes instead of 5 minutes.
Right.
You have more rounds, so there's more variables because there's
Right.
10-9 rounds. Boxing, the 10-point must system works, and people
Right.
like it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it can be improved upon. I'm not saying it couldn't be.
Yeah.
But for MMA, it's woefully inadequate. So they've created an updated system, but Nevada hasn't adopted it yet.
Oh, okay.
But
When you go to Vegas and you're gigging and like that,
when I'm gigging, Daddy-O.
when you're gigging, do you eat whatever you want? Do you go
This
a little
weekend
crazy,
I did.
or
This
do you
weekend I
stick
ate
to it?
This weekend I ate spaghetti. I had like linguine with clams.
Nice.
I fucked up.
So
I ate a Cuban sandwich
Right.
on Sunday night. Yeah, I ate some shitty food. So
Yeah.
I felt it today. It's like people are so tired of hearing people complain about
What they
eating
eat.
bad food and what it does to your body. I think I've worn my welcome out with that subject
That's funny.
because I talk
Yeah.
about it too much on my own. But I definitely indulged. I had pizza on Sunday. I had a lot of shitty food.
Yeah, no, because it's hard when you're on the road. It's difficult to to not do it. And once you break the seal when you're on the road, you're like, oh, I'll just clean up when I get home.
Exactly. Yeah, but I've been pretty consistent with my diet and pretty consistent with working out.
I was gonna bring some bread today because I was experimenting with something and tried to make something different, and it was kind of a fail. Not a total fail. It still tasted good, but what didn't look that great. And I was like, I was gonna bring it by, and I was like, I don't think they're gonna want to eat bread. I think they're dialed in right now.
I'm trying to be dialed in right now. I just think I'm going to give myself 1 day a week. One day a week to fuck off. And I'm not always going to take it. I'm not always going to take that day.
Yeah,
Some days I'm like, I don't need it.
And don't go batshit crazy.
Well, here's the thing. And Aubrey Marcus, my good buddies, described this the best way. He's like, what you're doing is you're just for a few moments of mouth pleasure. You're totally hijacking your body for the next day.
Yeah.
Like if you're eating like an ice cream sundae and, you know, you drink a Coca-Cola with that and you have a cheeseburger and fries.
Right.
You are hijacking your digestive system.
Yeah.
You just said, listen, I don't give a fuck what's good for me. We're going to throw some groovy poison down there and I'm going to get the shortest, like a few minutes of good feeling that doesn't come close to a lot of stuff that's legal.
Yeah.
Doesn't even come close.
Yeah, but some things kind of last. Like when
what?
You've been thinking about fried chicken for a month or so, and then you get that fried chicken, it'll stick with you for a bit.
Do you think you should earn it?
Yeah, I think it should be special. I think it's got to be like, I think it's,
You know, one of my all-time favorite cheat foods is Popeye's fried chicken with hot sauce.
Hot damn.
I take some fucking El Yucateca habanero sauce, and when it's cold, I like it the next day even more than I like it the
better.
first. Yeah, and then dip it in the habanero sauce and just fucking gluten be damned.
You got to put a nice potato with that.
Fuck potatoes.
Come on, a little no
shit.
Fries on the side of that?
I'm just going hard with fried chicken. But see, fried chicken is two food groups. Okay, it's bread and it's chicken.
Right.
Because all that crust on the outside.
And oil.
Plenty of oil. Oh,
I got fried chicken at this food festival the other day. And I was like, ooh, I haven't had that in a long time. And it wasn't that great. That's the worst.
You know what the best chicken is in California? Roscoe's.
Oh, really?
Roscoe's chicken and waffles.
The best
Maybe
chicken.
It's just, in my eyes, maybe it's just the combination. Combination of the chicken and the waffles together.
And syrup.
Yeah, and collard greens. There's something about collard greens on the side.
There's a place in Studio City called Uncle Andre's. And it's a barbecue place, tiny little place. One dude just in the back making this stuff forever. It looks like they took him out of Alabama in the woods, and he's just kick-ass, makes them incredible. His collard greens are insane.
Yeah, somehow I got to learn how to cook. Because when someone does it really well, like at a really good barbecue place, and it's like dripping when you pull it out of the box.
A little liquid coming off
it.
It's good stuff.
It's a delicious vegetable. And it's not like a well-used one.
No, it's good for you.
Fuck yeah. Well, anything green, essentially, is good for you.
Right.
You know, they say that bok choy is something that people are really getting into now for its health benefits.
Bok choy?
Yeah. I don't
know what to do with that.
I'm a kale freak, man. I love kale.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good.
Kale does make you feel good.
Love it.
It's really good. I had there's this place called Blossom in New York, and it had this total kale dish, and it was a lot of it. And you just ate the whole thing, and then you walk out, you feel better than when you walked in the restaurant.
And you shit like a lumber accident on a river. like a fucking lumber ship hit a rock.
You want to take pictures and send it to your friends.
Like, we're losing our cargo. Woo!
I'm proud of you, little buddy.
What was that scene was it in Dumb and Dumber where he's like holding on while he's taking a shit? He's getting launched into the air, literally.
Sometimes you just want to take a picture and share it with your friends.
There's something about shit jokes, man.
It's so funny.
Ari Shaffir had to get rid of his agent or his manager, one of the two, because they told him to stop. Oh, there it is right there. Jamie found the scene. Why is that so funny?
It's so
I'm such a
stupid.
child.
Yeah,
I'm such a child.
It's a primal thing.
But Ari had this great joke about, and it actually was a real thing that happened when he and I worked together. He had to go over this bridge, and it was a long-ass bridge in Sydney, Australia, and as he was halfway over the bridge, he had to shit himself.
Oh.
And it takes forever to get to the other side.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
it's just, he's stuck.
Oh,
And so
no.
his manager was like, you shouldn't do that. It's a shit joke. And, I mean, this joke
Oh, he had it in his act.
The joke killed.
Right.
It killed. He was closing with it.
Right.
You know, and his manager was telling him he shouldn't do it because it's a shit joke. And he's like, yeah, we're not going to be working together. We can't do this.
You can't tell me
We
what
can't
to
do
do.
this.
You're
Like,
right.
meanwhile, I was just laughing at it. I was like, I came to tell him. I go, dude, that joke is so funny. It's so funny that you're telling that story, and it's fucking hilarious. And he goes, yeah, I just had to fire my manager. I
That's
was like,
hilarious.
what? And he goes, yeah, he told me to stop doing it. I go, get the fuck out of here. There's no way. He's like, because it was a joke about a guy who had to take a shit, but it wasn't just, it was just
It's
a
funny.
it was a real story.
Yeah, yeah.
And that concept is a real part of life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just,
Oh.
there's people that think like there's toilet humor, and there was a thing that like in the 1960s and the 70s, you know, someone like Lenny Bruce came along, oh, he's doing toilet humor.
Right, right.
You know, like-
Look, if it's coming out of somebody and all they have is that, and there's
Right.
nothing. If it's coming from Ari, you're like, he's a funny comedian. You know.
And it's just a subject. It's
Yeah.
just a real subject.
Yeah.
But
I was talking about how it's hard to be a human being, and I had this like run, and I said, "Have you ever fart so loud in your sleep that you wake yourself up?" And I was like, "Wow, this is so base. Like I don't normally have talk like that in my act, and it's just so fun to talk about." And the girls just get hysterical in the audience because they do. It's just too much fun to talk about. Well, why else are we here? We're supposed to enjoy ourselves. You know what I mean? I can't be like, no. I mean, I'm not going to do it on Colbert, but you know,
Right.
it's fun to do at Ice House.
I mean, it is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, but it's a thing that you should certainly use it sparingly.
Right.
If you're going to describe it and talk about it, like, is this guy obsessed with shit?
Right, exactly.
FBI seizes your computer. Jesus, look at his bookmarks. Oh, God. Somebody fucking retweeted a scat page. There's a scat Twitter page. Somebody retweeted it, and I was like, why is this on my feed?
Oh, no.
It was some dude with his giant, hairy, fat, overweight ass
Hey.
hunched over this woman's face and just shitting in her mouth while people were like pulling the shit out of his ass and rubbing it on her
Aye.
face. And I was like, this is on Twitter, but Milo's not. Like, you guys banned Milo Yiannopoulos, and this is
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
I'm like, what in the fuck am I looking at?
Ay, ay, ay.
Like, how is that? And also, there's a lot of porn on Twitter. Not
Is there
saying,
really?
Yeah, like full
I don't-
hardcore.
I don't read the Twitter feed anymore.
You don't?
I'll read like mentions like for fans that want to talk about stuff, but I don't.
Oh, you want it
I
to be
don't
all about
scroll
you, huh?
through everybody else. No, it's just well, yes. It just got too much. It's just it was overwhelming. I'd rather just talk to people about bread recipes and.
Well, there's too much information, and for sure, we're definitely suffering from an overload of information.
I just feel better because it's just too much to go through. It's just
Yeah, it's too
Instagram
much.
is good. You see a couple pictures of your friends.
I feel
and
like if
then move
something
on.
really crazy is happening, someone will text me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, something really crazy, like
Yeah.
Arian Foster, the guy who's coming tomorrow, who thinks he can kill a wolf with his hands. He's going to be on the podcast tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Former NFL player.
Has he done it?
No, he never has killed a wolf with his hands. By the way, no one's killed a wolf with their hands. Well, he's just a giant super athlete. And he's like, "Pff, I'll get it." He said if he gets a hold of its neck, it'll be dunzo. That's what he said. I'm like, I'm not entirely sure he understands.
How big that neck is.
Well, I don't think he understands how fast those things move, how vicious they are. They have a bite that's 5 times harder than a pit bull's.
Oh no, yeah. I joined the wolf movement when I was in college. It was
What is
around
that?
the time it was like saving the wolves because the numbers had
Oh.
gotten so low.
So what year was this?
This was like 89, 88.
So that was before the Yellowstone reintroduction?
Yes, it was all part of that.
Oh.
And everyone's just pouring money and effort into talking about it and stuff. And me and my friends were so into wolves. We were just like, we'd watch wolf videos, wolf packs. We loved like the packs, and how they would hunt and like go around different things. And then now the wolf is dominant again. It's kind of exploded.
In some
it's become
areas,
it's got a little bit of a problem, right?
In some areas, but
Yeah.
in most areas, they think it's healthy.
It is good.
Yeah, like they think it's healthy in Yellowstone. Like people are upset that live on the outside of it because they weren't given a say, and there's a lot of wolves now. I mean,
Right.
There's
There's a lot.
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And as long as the elk populations are high and they manage the wolf populations, that's where it gets squirrely. Some people don't want anyone to kill wolves. Like, and you say, well, why would you kill a wolf, man? The problem is, well, if they get overpopulated, you have a real problem. Like, I agree, they're beautiful, and I think they're amazing. They're probably like, if I had like one animal that I would be like most psyched to see in the wild, it would be a wolf. I think they're incredible.
For sure.
I'm fascinated by them, but I'm also really aware of what the consequences are if there's too many of them.
They'll eat people.
They definitely eat people. They've eaten people at many times in the past. They eat dogs.
Yeah.
There's some pictures that someone sent me. His buddies in Kazakhstan had 3 dogs killed in a night by wolves, and they ate the dogs. And they have pictures of the remains of these dogs where they're bitten in half, like the lower abdomen. Like you could see everything from the shoulders up, like the dog's head, the dog's arms, and then everything back there is gone. They cut it in half.
Jeez.
The amount of power they generate in their jaws is insane. And they don't look at dogs like their buddies. They look at dogs like prey, and they'll look at people like prey too.
Yeah.
If they don't think that you're dangerous,
They'll get you.
they'll get you.
There's coyotes all around us. And
They'll get you too if it gets real bad.
Yeah, we know someone who the coyote went in the house and got the dog.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a little dog went in, got it, and took off with
God.
it. Oh.
Dude, they're scary.
Yeah, they're scary. Who has a stronger bite, a wolf or a bear? Grizzly bear.
A grizzly bear.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Not even close.
No. A real, like, if you're talking like a Kodiak Island grizzly bear, that's the biggest they get. They're not really grizzly. Grizzlies, there's 2 bears, right? There's a brown bear and a grizzly bear. And the grizzly bear is the interior bear. That's the bear that you find in like the Rocky Mountains.
Right.
That's a grizzly bear.
Right.
That's what the bear you'll find in Montana.
Right.
But the coastal bears are even bigger, and that's what they had to kill in California. You know, our state flag has a brown bear on it.
Right.
And that brown bear, that's the difference between brown and grizzly. Same animal,
Uh-huh.
but one of them lives interior, and it's much more aggressive, by the way. The grizzly is much scarier than the coastal bear because
Right.
the coastal bear gets plenty of food. That's why they're so big.
Oh, and the other one's hungry.
Yeah, so coastal bears are enormous. I mean, enormous.
Right.
And the biggest ones on the planet that are brown bears, the biggest bears on the planet right now are polar bears.
Polar bears.
But the
For
brown
now.
bears on Kodiak Island, I think they get to close to 2,000 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, find out what's the
I told
biggest
you.
brown bear ever shot on Kodiak Island. I think it might be close to 12 feet tall.
Wow.
I think it might be in the neighborhood of 1,800 to 2,000 pounds.
Jeez. I told you that time when I was hiking in Alaska and I was close to a bear.
Ooh. Accidentally?
Yeah. Yeah.
Girl or a boy?
I don't know.
Black or brown?
It was kind of tan.
Tan.
Yeah.
Oh, probably.
It was in Alaska. Like,
probably a black bear. They have the color phase black bears that can
it
actually
was
look
big.
blonde.
It looked like the size of a minivan.
Oh, Jesus. So it's probably a grizzly then.
It was big. Yeah.
So really big.
Yeah. And it was just coming through the
Oh, my
weeds.
God.
I was
How
with
far away were you?
We were in the backcountry. We were out there.
Like miles in.
Miles in. Yeah, like overnight for like a week.
Oh, Jesus, Tom Papa.
And it was reeds, like as tall as me, like there's a whole like field of those reeds, and we just saw the reeds just parting like 50 feet away, like whoosh, whoosh.
Oh, my God.
And I'm with like 5 other people, and you're not supposed to run when you see a bear. You're supposed to freeze.
Yeah.
Everybody took off.
Oh, no.
With their backpacks, they just got so scared. And me and my one friend froze, and then saw them running. And we went to back. We were like kind of in between the instinct of what to do. The bear was like where the corner of that room is, and just it was late September. It was full.
Oh, yeah.
It was going way down to get the last berries, like way down low, and it didn't care about us at all. It just. But you realize, like in a split second, if this guy decides, this is a whole different story.
Well,
you know what I mean?
They can move so fast.
So
too.
fast.
Okay, the biggest brown bear, the world record was bagged by Roy. I like how they say bagged. How about just say killed? Roy Lindsley in 1952. 30, 12, 16. I don't know what that means. The score, largest scoring.
I thought
What
you
about
might
the
have known what
size
that
of it?
means. I don't know. It doesn't say.
30 feet long.
Yeah, they're just scroll down. No, it's definitely not 30 feet long.
12 feet long.
No, I think they're actually measuring the skull. I think.
A cups.
I think they're measuring the skull, and then 16. Who knows what that is? Maybe it's the length.
Yeah, I was trying to find out what that meant on here. I didn't really see anything.
Just look up how big or how much does the biggest Kodiak bear weigh. Just Google that.
It says it weighed more than half a ton.
Oh.
That's a big bear.
It says commonly weigh more than half a ton.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean
That one didn't say. It was
that's just 1,000
1952.
pounds. Yeah,
I hate this
Find-
website.
this website blows, bro.
This is the
Find a
worst
better
bear
website.
website ever.
Ever. I think that's like one of them hunter websites, right? Is it?
Bear's my favorite animal, though.
Outdoorhub.com. Yeah, see, that's like
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. That can't be
size
real.
of that thing. 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, can weigh up to 1,500 pounds when conditions are right.
That's not real. Look at the size of that head.
Oh, it's real.
That's real?
Yeah, it's perspective, though. The guy's behind it. He's like hiding out like 3 feet behind the bear. Like, look, I killed it. It's so
Here's,
big and I'm so little.
This is the skull of that
It was
big
such
bear,
a
I
big
think.
fight.
That's a hippo.
I threw a rock at him, and then with a stick.
Look at that dire wolf skull. This is what a dork I am. I recognize that.
Which one?
Is that a dinosaur?
Which one?
That's a
These
dinosaur.
mammals. No, it says mammals. What is that animal? Is that a dire wolf?
Oh.
Look at those teeth, son. Woo!
Ooh, it looks like my dog.
Good Lord, look at those fucking teeth. What is that? Visit page. What the fuck animal is
I think
that?
it was a parakeet.
What does it say?
It says the hell pig.
Hell pig.
Oh, the hell pig.
I just found out about this thing a week ago.
I never heard of a hell pig.
Click on that motherfucker, please.
I'm learning new things.
This was apparently like a super predator giant pig. I mean, fucking huge. There was an article like really recently, like within the last couple of days on it that I saw online where they were saying, "Thank God the hell pig gets extinct" or something like that. But it was fucking huge. It was a huge animal.
They haven't seen my family on Thanksgiving. Hello.
Blah, blah, blah.
Hell pig. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's-
Facts about the giant killer pigs. Look at the face on that fucking thing.
look at its haunches. It's like a bull.
It's like a bull
Horse.
fucked a horse that fucked a wolf,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like a bull horse wolf thing.
Yeah.
It's
that
got
is
a wolf face.
like a tank of a face.
Oh God! Look, imagine that thing running at your family.
Oh my God.
What do you do?
It
Do
says
you?
they're closer to hippos and whales.
You
than
push
a
your
pig.
Oh,
you push the smallest one into it and run.
dude! Evolution scares the fuck out of me. Closest to hippos and whales.
We're here definitely at a good time.
A hippo whale thing that was huge. I mean, they were like a hippo size too. And I think this was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where did this thing live? It lived around people, right?
Joe, would you rather live in a world where
Oh, 2,000 pounds.
where all of nature's being decimated and we're drilling in national parks and it's really bleak, like everything's concrete? Or would you like to live in a time like this where hell pigs were running around and you had to fight for your life the whole time?
Depends on what you mean. If I had to live back then with the weapons they had back then, because what year is this that this was going down? These were primitive
Caveman
people,
times, yeah.
right? When did this thing exist?
19 to 16 million years ago.
Okay, so there's no people at all. Okay,
No, let's put them in modern day.
so if there was an animal back then that was like us, it's past the big impact, the Yucatan impact. So
Right.
that's 65 million years ago. So those are probably like weird monkey people back then.
Right.
You know, they were fucked.
Let's update it. Let's say the EPA is granted all of the things I wanted to be able to do, and the
But-
place is just crazy with animals.
But we have hell pigs
Hell
everywhere.
pigs in your garbage.
See, that's where
You gotta
people are
buy
going
hell
to be.
pig guards and stuff like that.
People are going to be happy that there's people that know how to hunt.
Right.
Because if there really are hell pigs, and they really do become a problem, look, the only thing that's
Yeah.
keeping wolf populations down is hunters. And when they don't have that, you know what they do in Alaska? They get in airplanes, they fly over them, they shoot them from the sky.
Right.
They find the packs, they locate them, and they swoop down and shoot at them when they kill
Wow.
too many caribou or they killed too many moose.
What would happen if they didn't do that?
They would go overwhelmed. They would have massive populations of them like they have in Siberia.
Right.
In Siberia, a few years ago, they were having these super packs of wolves because it was a particularly horrible winter. And they would have like 100 wolves would get together so they could take out horses.
Really?
So they would go into these barns and then, imagine you're hanging out in your house and your barn is next door and there's 100 wolves tearing one of the horses apart.
Oh, my God.
100 wolves.
So it's okay if we kill a couple things.
You have to.
It's survival.
Well, if you don't, they're going to get to the point where they were with the Russians in World War I. The Russians and the Germans in World War I, so many of them were killed by wolves that they had a ceasefire.
What?
And they decided to kill wolves.
For real?
Yeah. And they went back to killing each other after they figured out how many, they sorted it out and killed a ton of wolves.
And this friend that's coming tomorrow says he can kill one with his hands?
He believes he can. Seems incorrect. I just think people have this thing in their head that a wolf is like a dog. You can probably kill a dog if he's a giant dude and the dog doesn't bite him in the right spot and he can get a hold of its neck. He might be able to kill a dog.
I could kill a dog.
I'd bet you might be able to kill some dogs.
My lab.
Yeah. It
Lab
depends.
puppy.
Do you have a knife with you when this is going
Bare
down?
hands.
Bare hands.
Choke it out.
Not easy. Not easy. Not easy to kill an animal with your hands.
You suffocate it.
Yeah.
Put it in a choker hold.
Very hard. It's going to be very hard to do.
Yeah?
Very hard.
A dog?
Yeah. Very hard.
Have you seen my hands?
You have giant hands. Like a massive, massive football player, man. If you know jiu-jitsu and you can get its back and you can sink the choke in like a real proper rear naked choke, you might be able to kill it. But I would think you would put it to sleep and then stomp its head.
Right.
That would be the move.
Yeah. You got to wear boots if you're going dog hunting.
Yeah. Well, it's it's like an animal that we've chosen to take in. This is an animal this is our animal.
Because
you can't
they
eat them.
Right. Can't.
But if you go to China, they have a whole festival.
You can eat dogs just like pigs.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're supposed to be not as smart as pigs.
Yeah, you're right. My dog is definitely not as smart as a pig. My dog's an idiot. I love her. She's fun. We just got her. She's great, but not bright.
Do you remember when people were having pigs for pets?
Yes.
It was like a thing?
Yes. Everyone had not everyone, but
a lot of people.
Yeah, pot-belly pigs. What happened to all those pigs? I bet they're not doing that great right now. Old, farting in the house.
Ugh,
yeah. It's a pig.
Barely hanging on. Yeah, what do they do with those pigs, man?
You bring them outside and just let them go.
What do you do with those pigs?
My dog got picked up from Bakersfield.
Yeah?
A lot of people dump dogs in Bakersfield.
Why Bakersfield?
Because it's open and you can just pull off the highway and throw a tennis ball and keep going.
Asshole.
Isn't that terrible?
God, people are assholes.
Aren't they the worst?
That's so fucking
It really is so sad. I cannot imagine. I mean, sometimes I get mad at my dog, but not to the point of driving it somewhere.
Yeah, well, you hear those stories about someone chucking a bag of puppies out their car window, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah,
is that
my
real?
dog was a puppy. That might have happened.
Oh.
Yeah, just a whole bag of puppies. You couldn't do something else. That's just dumb and lazy. You couldn't walk into a shelter and be like, here's some puppies for you.
What's worse than dumb and lazy? It's so fucking callous.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not? If you look at a puppy, you don't get excited. Like, oh,
of course.
little buddy.
Well, that's how they know you're a psychopath, right? When you're a kid, it was always the kid that would torture animals.
Yeah.
They were concerned about that kid. There was a kid in my class who tied a bird up once. No, a cat. Tied a cat like spread eagle and went to town on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he went away for a while.
For that?
Yeah. Well, he was weird. He was doing weird stuff all the time. And then the cat story got around, and they're like, "All right, someone's got to do something with this guy. He's getting weird." Because that's a sign that you'll hurt human beings. You're missing an empathy.
Yeah.
That makes you able to kill things.
I don't know if you were around back then, but there was someone in like I want to say like the early 2000s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like even before that, like maybe late 90s. Someone was killing cats in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
I don't know if they ever caught the guy.
Really?
And by the way, note how I said guy, because I'm sexist. And I know that most people that kill cats are fucking guys.
Yeah.
But this guy was killing cats and cutting them open and like gutting them and shit. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like,
oh my God.
Almost like he was doing like science projects on them, like spreading them open, pulling their guts out. Yeah, and people would come outside and they would find their cat not just dead, but dead and like surgically cut open and pulled apart and
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was scary.
That's a guy you want to feed to a wolf.
Yeah. Some people were speculating, though, that they were wrong and that it was really coyotes were getting these dogs.
Well, you know what else does that?
What?
Guts cats and leaves them raccoons.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my neighbor's cat was killed like a raccoon that way. And they
Dude,
don't eat it. They just killed it and gutted it.
Well, raccoons are predators.
Yeah.
Raccoons try to get into my chickens. There was a raccoon the other night trying to get at my chickens.
Really?
Yeah, he wouldn't even fucking leave, man.
They're
I was trying to
hardcore.
scare him.
No?
I was trying to scare him. I was like, bitch, you better get the fuck away from here. And he just looked at me. And I got closer to him, and he got closer to me.
Oh,
And I was
really?
like, oh, my God, I will fucking get a bow and arrow, and I will kill you if you kill my chickens, you cunty fucking raccoon. Because his chickens are like, they're pets. And they're pets that live outside. Like,
Right.
this fucking guy was hanging around by the cage, looking right at the chickens, trying to figure out how to get at them.
He'll figure it out, too. They're smart. Well, he'll come back.
Oh, I don't know, man. Yeah, probably.
Take them out. They're vicious.
Are you allowed to? How's that work?
yeah, I
would
think
have
so.
to check what the laws are.
I think if it's on your property.
Are you allowed to kill raccoons? I bet you're not just allowed to just kill them.
Well, you got to call someone to have them trap them?
Well, first of all, I have to make sure he's in a place where I can actually hit him with an arrow ethically. Like, I have to be able to actually make
Wait
sure
till
there's
he's up.
nothing behind him.
Uh-huh.
You know, I don't want to miss and have an arrow go through my neighbor's window. Because I'm playing Robin Hood in my backyard with a fucking
But you're good. You know what you're doing, don't you?
I do, but you want to make sure there's nothing behind. So he would have to
Right.
be in an area of my yard like where I would shoot a target.
Right.
Where there's like a back wall, you know?
So,
He'd
like
have
this-
to be somewhere where I could...
Yeah. But the arrows you use to go after elk, would it go right through a raccoon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. An elk is so big.
It would go right through the raccoon.
Elks are... that's 1,000-pound animal.
The raccoon would be like, what was that?
Elk have these huge bones, man. Those
Yeah.
arrows just blow right through those bones.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The only thing they have a hard time going through is the really thick, big ones, like shoulder bones, scapula sometimes,
Right.
like if your bow is not that powerful.
Right.
But like ribs, they all the time you get what's called a pass-through, whereas the arrow goes completely through the animal before it even knows what happened.
Jeez.
Because it happens so quick. It's just like 1 second. Plop. They don't
Wow.
even know. They don't even know what hit them.
That's force.
That would rip a raccoon in half. His bows today are
that's intense.
They've all this mechanical advantage because the cams. You know, so they're on the compound bows are on these cams
Right.
that roll over and they can generate way more force than just the amount you're pulling back.
Yeah.
So like if you had like an old school Robin Hood recurve bow, right?
Yeah.
Those bows, the more you pull them back, the harder it is.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're stretching and pulling that wood, and then twang, you let it go, and the arrow takes off. But with a compound bow, they're on these cams. So as you pull it back, that's happening. You have these thick carbon fiber or fiberglass limbs
Jeez.
that are pulling back and holding tremendous amounts of energy. And then you have these cams that roll over that impart a mechanical advantage on the whole system. And then as you pull it back, the cams allow it to be light at the end. So if my bow takes 84 pounds to pull back, at the end it's only like 10 or 20% of that.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm holding it with like 20% of the amount of energy that it takes to pull it back. So it's not hard to hold on to.
Right.
And then when you let the arrow go, it's flying like 290 feet a second.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So let's go get raccoons.
And it weighs, the arrows weigh, what's 500 grams? How much is 500 grams in like a pound? How many grams are in an ounce?
500 grams.
What would that be? Because you say 500 grams, it doesn't seem to make sense. Like, what is that? Doesn't even make sense to me. I don't know what that is.
That's like a pound and
What
a
is it?
half.
1.1 pounds.
1.1 pounds.
Yeah.
So the arrow's a pound. So 1 pound of arrow is going 290 feet a second, and it's got a razor blade at the front of it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, a razor blade's designed to penetrate rib bones
Oof.
with a chisel tip to it.
Now, what if you just threw a hammer at the raccoon?
You might kill it, or you might just hurt him, and then that's probably even worse. You wound him, and he's walking around with a broken leg or something.
You know what you got to consider as you're sitting there talking to that raccoon, and he's like pretending to come up on you. There's probably 2 raccoons flanked on
Do you
either
think they
side,
operate like that?
eyeballing you.
They're like wolves?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. You think so?
I bet that. Yeah.
Maybe that's
they're
why he was so
crafty.
confident.
They're crafty.
Dude, I was telling him, hey man, fuck off, and he moved closer to me.
He's like, don't you see my boys?
He's just looking at me. I mean, he's looking right at me, and he was circling like from my side, and I was like, this is crazy. He's getting closer to me.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Not afraid.
Dude, he wasn't afraid of me at all.
Wow.
You know, I mean, look, I don't want anything bad to happen to the raccoon. I just don't want him to eat my chickens.
Mine were rolling up the grass and eating bugs underneath. I'd come out, and my grass would just be rolled over.
Yeah,
just like
they're
rolled.
so clever.
I know.
They have little hands.
They've got little busy hands.
Yeah. But if you raise, I mean, it's such a weird relationship that we have with these things, because if you raise them from the time they're pets, apparently they make these amazing pets.
Really?
Yeah, if you can catch a raccoon when he's really young, and you
can domesticate
wean
him.
You domesticate him, and the problem with animals becomes survival.
Right.
Survival, once food is scarce and once they have to struggle for it, they will adopt a wild, feral mindset. And
Right.
those are dangerous animals, whether
Yeah.
they're cats or dogs, or they're not the same.
Yeah.
So our ideas about animals, like for a lot of people that really truly love animals,
Yeah.
you're talking about these domesticated weirdo animals that aren't even animal-like in any
Yeah.
way. They're barely animal-like.
My friend who worked on a farm was like, grew up with pigs, cows, the whole thing. It was just like, she had no sympathy for it. Wasn't like, we have to be kind to all these animals. She goes, they're big and dumb and smelly. And like, she just grew up with them.
Right.
It was just like,
See, I feel like that's kind of fucked up too, right?
it seems like
all
it when you're
fucked
not
up.
related to it.
Yeah.
But the reality is that there were hell pigs just going crazy,
yeah.
and we had to survive, so we had to pave it and put in Jamba Juice.
But I think you need those people that are like the crazy diehard animal activists. Otherwise, there would be nothing.
I just want to save the parks. Just leave Yosemite alone.
Yeah, they're gonna leave it alone.
I don't.
They're not doing anything to that.
The one guy, Zink. What's his name?
Zinke?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he seems pretty decent.
Well, he's also a big supporter of keeping public lands public and not selling them to the states.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the way it works, it's been explained to me by Steve Ranella and some other people, but the way it works is that we have all this land that's federal land, and you can go on it, you would hunt,
Right.
you could fish, you could camp, you could go. It's literally our land,
Yeah.
right? But if you sell it to the state, if the state has a financial burden, they'll sell it off to private corporations. So that's the danger. The danger is the state will come upon dire times and will be forced to sell it off.
Right.
But the federal government, they can't do that. And so as long as the
Right.
people don't vote to make it the property of the state, you're okay. It stays in the federal trust. And if it's in the federal trust,
Gotcha.
it's managed the way it's been managed since Teddy Roosevelt was around. So we figured out a way to do it where, as of right now, they get leasing rights for like minerals and for cattle and stuff like that. That's what the whole
Right.
Bundy Ranch thing was about.
Right.
Those guys up in Oregon.
Oregon, yeah. But what Pruitt is, his big push is to give all the power back to the states and
Yeah,
let
but
them
that's
act.
a gateway.
That
It's
is,
a gateway to
exactly.
privatization of, and that's there's a hotly
That's a
contested
danger.
bill that was in the House, HR 621,
Uh-huh.
by this guy Jason Chavitz. And if you want to hear him talking to my friend Cameron Haynes on Cameron's most recent podcast, he flew to D.C. to talk to him.
Oh, yeah.
The guy withdrew HR 621, which is turning over 3 million acres of land to the state, which the state could then do with whatever they want.
Oy.
And the problem with that is it's a slippery slope, and it eventually leads to privatization of a lot of those lands.
Yeah.
And especially people are scared of that with Republicans in power, especially when you see that they've lessened the EPA and all the different things they're doing. Like
Aggressively.
we were talking about the environmental satellites. All that stuff scares the shit out of people.
Yeah.
So then the next one he's got HR 622, which people are also opposed to because it would be about turning over the policing of those lands and the law enforcement, turning it over to the state and taking it out of federal hands, Bureau of Land Management and stuff like that, park rangers and shit
Right.
like that. They want it to do to local sheriffs. And then they would allocate money specifically for that. But people think that's a slippery slope too,
Right.
because they don't know what they're doing, and it sets it up for, hey, these people don't know what they're doing. We need to go back and sell this land,
Right.
because if we do that, then we won't be responsible for maintaining it, and then
Bring a private group in.
Yeah, so
Ugh.
this is what Ranella believes is going on, and the guy Jason Chaffetz, he disagreed, and he has his points of view, which I don't know if he's right or wrong.
Just
But-
leave them alone.
Yeah.
Just the parks. Just that. Can you just leave that alone?
Well, it's a super rare thing we have, and it's really gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing. It
really
literally
beautiful.
changed my life. When I started in college, going backcountry with my buddies, we would just get packs. We didn't know what we were doing in the beginning. We literally were carrying
Yeah.
gear in army sacks, and you would just go into the back of Yosemite for a week and a half, and Denver and Montana and Wyoming, and those were life-changing experience. It's just to sit like behind the Grand Tetons in this land. It does something to you. It changes you. And to think that you're going to sit there and there's going to be a backhoe digging something up to look for some oil that might be under sulfur.
But you know that sound
Terrifying.
that you hear when those oil things are going ting 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 ting
worst.
ting ting. That's a weird sound.
It's
You
a
hear that
nightmare sound.
You're like, whoa.
It's a nightmare. Yeah, just leave that alone.
But it's so crazy that we operate on the blood of the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what oil is. Oil is like the blood of the earth. We're like these giant mosquitoes that are using machines to suck the blood out of the earth. And then what we do with that blood, we take it and we pollute the air with it. That's what we do. We burn it. We light it on fire, and we have these engines that are essentially controlled explosions contained in steel.
Yeah.
And inside you have this blood that's boiling and burning, and fire and explosions are going off inside this steel box, this iron box, and then we're driving around spitting out terrible
worst.
poison gas.
The worst.
What a weird thing.
Yeah, totally weird thing. And we don't need it anymore.
Well, when you go by a factory, like a New Jersey factory, and you see those fucking plumes
Oof.
of smoke blowing up into the air, you're
Oh.
like, how are you allowed to do that?
Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that? Would you be allowed to blow that right on a baby's bed?
Yeah. I was driving down the New Jersey Turnpike in college. I was working for like a fireplace company. We were on the turnpike in the summer, like August, no air conditioning in the truck, sitting there. The whole area's air was orange. It was orange, just coming out of those smokes. I was like, if I ever get cancer, this is the day. This is the day it happened.
Oh, I remember these places you would go by where it just stunk. Like, here's the thing, my parents, and this is not just factories, it's also farms. They say like one of the biggest producers of methane pollution in the country is the cattle industry.
Right.
And when my parents used to live in Pennsylvania. They used to live, where the fuck were they? Outside of Wilkes-Barre. I forget the name of the town.
Right.
But it was in the nowhere, Pennsylvania, right? So you used to drive through. Well, when you think of Pennsylvania, you think of Philadelphia or Pittsburgh.
Right.
But there's a lot
in
of
between.
Pennsylvania where you're just going 30 miles an hour, so you don't slam into a deer. Some methed up deer is darting onto the highway. And you're like, what in the fuck kind of place is this? My parents had deer in their yard every day.
Yeah,
They
easy.
thought they hated deer. Deer like eating roses and like, get those cunty fucking animals.
Yeah.
And anyway, when you would drive down there, you would go past these farms, and the smell was so bad. You could not believe that people could live there. The smell, because it was in the summer when I was visiting them.
It would
was
smell like that all the
July.
time.
I'm sure, but it was hot too.
Yeah.
So it was hot, funky shit smell, and it was everywhere.
So
it was just the
gross.
air you were breathing was shit particle air, 100%.
I drove past the Hormel factory in the summer once. Oh my God. First of all, there's a whole bunch of pigs and stuff. You're behind these trucks on the way there. And then it was like, where are they going? And then you just see in the background this giant Hormel plant. The smell in the summertime. Oh. But we have so many faces to feed.
Yeah.
There are so many mouths. There's so many beings walking around right now getting hungry.
Yeah.
Right? They're all getting hungry. And they've all got to be fed. So it's like, what's the solution?
It's a good question.
They're all hungry. They're going to get hungry in another 3 hours. They're going to crap it out, and then they're going to eat again. We are the zombies. We're the zombies running around needing to feed constantly.
And if you want to be able to pull into that Wendy's drive-thru
Yeah.
and get that double cheeseburger at 1 o'clock in the morning,
Someone's got to pay.
yeah, I mean, you can go to the Wendy's drive-thru at 1 a.m. and almost instantly get a cheeseburger.
Beef.
Right away.
Yeah.
Ground animal sandwich. You don't have to feed it. You don't have to shoot it. You don't have to cut it up. You don't have to grind it. You don't have to cook it. You don't have to find a bun.
Right in your face.
Right in your face, and it costs like, what, $4 or something?
It's nothing.
And then, boom, you're full. And then you're on your merry way. Like, what?
It's so weird. And it's billions of people are doing that. Billions.
Yeah, and that's the only way you can have a city. You can't have a city where everybody's growing things. There's not enough food.
There's no way.
How could you feed, like, if people are eating meat in particular?
Can't
Even if they're
do
eating
it.
vegetables. Could you imagine if New York City had to be self-sustaining?
Oh, please. I was looking just for a farm-to-table steakhouse in New York.
They don't have them?
They don't have. Nobody can provide that grass-fed beef to one restaurant. One New York restaurant's going to go through so much meat in one night.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
God damn.
Just one restaurant.
When
So,
you
yeah.
go there, like I only go there once or twice a year, but every time I go there, I go, oh yeah, I forgot how crazy this place is. Like this
New
doesn't
York?
make any sense.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the map yesterday. And I
Yeah.
was looking at Lyme disease centers. Lyme disease is goddamn scary.
It is.
And there's a Lyme disease map. And the Lyme disease map is fascinating because it's like a giant percentage of it is like Massachusetts, New York, the East Coast. The East Coast just overwhelmed with Lyme disease.
Overwhelmed. I know so many people that got it.
The other thing was weird is the shape of New York. I was looking at it. I was like,
Yeah.
how is all that up there, New York?
And then
This
out
is
to
New
Long
York?
Island, right?
What is this thing? Like, what? Well, how come you guys don't have more than one state? This is a bunch
Yeah.
of different states.
You put a lot of stuff together.
Like, New York State is definitely not New York.
Yeah,
New York State might as well be Kentucky.
absolutely.
Might as well.
Totally different. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like going to Alabama.
There's some spots, like when you drive into Buffalo or something like that, where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, where the fuck am I?
Right, exactly.
Like 2
The
hours
Finger
outside
Lakes.
of Buffalo. Good luck, dude.
Yeah.
You might as well be in West Virginia.
Yeah.
You might as well be in rural North Carolina.
Yeah, the
It's
same
weird.
a mile away from how people are in the West Village.
Yeah, there's like, you have your cities. You know, you have Albany, you have Buffalo, you have Syracuse. But you don't, those are so different.
Do you
than,
live in
like-
New York?
I lived in New Rochelle,
In New Rochelle.
like right outside the city. It's like right outside
Right,
Queens.
yeah, I know where it is.
Or the Bronx, rather.
Yeah. I lived in New York for a long time.
It's just a weird shape. Like that it's all that stuff up there is New York too.
Yeah, I had to get Long Island and Manhattan and Brooklyn and
It's
Staten
all
Island.
New York State.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was coming up as a stand-up, I would like the first gig I ever got in New York. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I was doing a show in New York. And it was a New York State room. So I had to drive up through Western Massachusetts to get into New York. But I was like so proud of myself that I did a show in New York.
Not even the city.
No, not even close. But it was like, it made me feel like, okay, I can do comedy in New York. Like,
Yeah,
look at
that's
that.
a big deal.
Look at that crazy. So White Plains, you see that in the lower right-hand corner?
Yeah.
That's where I used to live, right
Okay.
outside of that. Because
Yeah.
I used to play pool in White Plains at Executive Billiards.
If you go, like, you see where the Y is in New Jersey? On Yonkers?
Yeah.
That Y right there? That's
Yeah.
about where I grew up.
Dude, look at that look at the size of that thing.
It's a beautiful state. The Adirondacks. You ever gone through the
But look
Adirondacks?
how it goes all the way through to the top of Vermont.
Yeah, well, it's New York. What do you want?
But isn't that insane? Like, what an enormous, enormous state.
Yeah. Takes Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut.
Wow. Look at the Catskill Mountains where Customato used to train Mike Tyson.
That's right.
And then there's Ithaca. There's Rome, New York.
Oh,
Utica
it's
is where
gorgeous.
I worked. That's where I worked. I worked in Utica,
You
New
worked
York.
in Utica?
Yep.
What'd you do there?
I did stand up there.
Ah.
I had to drive from Massachusetts. See that Massachusetts 90?
Yeah.
I think the 90 was the Massachusetts Turnpike, and then it turned into New York State.
Yeah. Look at the. I've done gigs in Rochester, Buffalo.
Saratoga Springs.
There's a new club there, I hear.
You know what I used to hear all the time when I was a kid too? The
Poughkeepsie?
No, not the Catskills, but what was the one that's in Pennsylvania?
The Poconos.
Poconos,
The
yeah.
Poconos, the Mount Airy Lodge.
Yeah, you always heard about people going to the Isn't that where Dirty Dancing took place?
No, that was Catskills.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Poconos is like the champagne tub. They always, for the Mount Airy Lodge, they had that ad on TV.
And the Catskills was like where the comics would go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where like those
All
Freddie
the old
Roman
school-
type dudes.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if you can go back in time and watch some of that?
Oh, they used to play
Buddy Hackett.
hotels, little bungalows, little trailers, home. Like it was like so. Everybody from New York dumped up there for the weekends. Wow. And then the entertainers would come and they would just it was like Manhattan. Like they'd do a whole bunch of gigs a night.
What
That's
is that?
the Poconos.
There's an arrow through a heart.
Also,
the Mount Airy
they're all
Lodge.
couples resorts.
All couples resorts?
Yeah.
In the Catskills?
No,
Or
the Poconos.
Oh, the
Poconos is
Poconos are all
sexy.
couples?
Yeah.
Ooh,
The Poconos is sexy. That's where you go. Well, yeah, that one. Hit that one up there. Yes,
look at
that
that.
was in the ad. That was in the ad when I was a
He's
kid.
moving in for a kiss.
He's got a girl floating in a
baby.
heart-shaped pool.
Look at that. a heart-shaped bathtub with one of those weird roofs overhead.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all
destroyed.
You can pretend like you're fucking.
Oh, it's all destroyed.
Yeah, look at it.
The abandoned Poconos. There was so much banging there. Yeah, that's the champagne one. Look, it's a champagne glass, and you sit in it, and you
How do
make
get-
love to
how
your
do you get in
lady.
that? How do you get in there? You got to take an elevator.
People
Look
are
at
so
the
stu-
Egyptian room. Look
This
at
is
the
how
hieroglyphs
bored
on the
people
wall.
get of having sex with each other that they have to go climb in a champagne glass.
Let's go to the Poconos and we'll get the Egypt room. Are you serious? The Egypt room is so classy. Can you really get the Egypt room? Well, there's a waiting list, but I know a guy. And she's got her shoes off. They got
And
a
look
glass
at this.
of wine.
I
He's
got
ready to
you.
take her from behind. He's sneaking up behind her.
I
That
got
has-
you a new coat from Lord and Taylor.
And that's a fuck position. You only stay like that with someone you're banging.
Oh, yeah.
See, because if you were if that was a buddy of yours and you were sitting in his lap like that, and people walked in, they'd be like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on?
We're just watching the game.
This is how we cuddle. We stay warm. We preserve body heat. Why are your feet off? Why do you have your shoes off? Why do you have bare feet on?
Are you going to climb me up to that glass or just look at it?
You have to throw her up there if you want to bang her. That's the only way she lets you.
The Mount Airy Lodge.
You got to throw her over your arm, like throw her over your shoulder, and then you have to climb some stuff and gently lay her down in the champagne.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Look at that. There's a different couples in the Egypt room. So to let you know, you are not the first people to fuck in this room. This African American couple's been fucking in this room before you.
Oh, yeah. That's what do you think happens
Everybody.
there? What do you
They
think happens
fuck.
there?
That's where people go to get their fuck on. Look at that. They're fucking basically naked. That dude
Holy
doesn't even
cow.
have any pants on.
That's like Playgirl 1975.
She just gave him a handy, and he said thanks. And she just is really sensitive because she's on her period.
And they got some room service.
Look at this. This guy's hanging from the edge. It's going to break. It's going to be like one of them Rob Drydeck videos where the champagne glass going to come down, crush his skull. She's going to fall. She's going to be paralyzed from the neck down. He's going to be dead. And it'll all be on security camera that the Russians have captured through WikiLeaks.
There's no part of looking at the two people in the champagne glass
How about
having
the old
sex
guy?
that makes you think that would be a good idea.
How about this old guy? Yeah, I get to get my fuck on down here too,
Hey,
Louis. And
who
I do it
needs
with
a lady?
sunglasses.
Who needs a lady? I'm by myself. I'm in the glass.
I had to make a decision. I could only afford one pair of glasses, so I went with the prescription sunglasses. I don't give a fuck. I don't like to look at the daytime. The fucking those fluorescent lights are bad for your brain. Louis, trust me, they're bad for your brain. My guy's a good guy. Like, nobody knew what was good for you back
Nobody
then.
did. It really
You had
did.
to go to school to find out whether or not you should eat cigarettes.
Right.
A toast to pride. Gay dudes, get in that bathtub. Gay dudes have been banging.
Everyone bangs in that glass.
Do you smell bleach? Yeah. That's not bleach. Look at her. Why you have clothes on, hooker?
I'm by myself in a full one-piece
bubble bath.
bathing suit.
It's like more like a cheerleader's outfit.
It's so depressing. People are so bored. They're so bored. Oh God! Can't you stay home and read a book or just take a nap? Do you got?
Can you imagine if your daughter was taking dancing lessons from Patrick Swayze? And he's got that fucking silky mullet, and he's dancing and moving across the floor. And
Yeah.
no guy does that unless he wants to fuck. Either he's
course.
fucking guys or he's fucking your daughter. That's why he dances so good. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
he's
likes to
moving his
fuck.
hips around.
He wants to let you know this is how I fuck you. I fuck you to the music. Spinning around.
Salsa style,
Staying alive. Staying alive.
tight polyester pants.
Do you remember Saturday Night Fever? You remember when it came out where everybody
Yeah.
wanted to go dancing?
Yeah,
I was a little kid, but I remember.
yeah. All of a sudden, everyone was dressing like him.
What year did Saturday Night Fever come out?
77.
Was it?
Yeah.
So I was 10
With
years
the
old.
Bee Gees.
And I remember people just would go dancing all the time now.
It's true. And they were wearing like all the open shirts.
My aunts were living with us at the time.
Oh, yeah?
They'd moved from New Jersey or Florida, where the fuck they were at the time. And I think they moved with us around that same time when I was 10. I think
Were
they went dancing.
Were they fun ants?
Yeah, they were nice. Look at this. Here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that shirt. Open shirt. Look at the hair. God, I never had hair like that.
What a great album.
It's amazing.
The Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees were incredible.
Incredible.
I wish we could play some of it on the podcast.
Who,
but
if
we
you
get
could
yanked.
sing like that,
And look, he had his cigarettes on, cigarette smoking. They were playing
Yeah.
records. And it was all about going out, and everybody would go dancing, and occasionally knife fights. And that girl accidentally got that girl pregnant.
Yeah.
She was cute, but she wasn't as hot as the other girl.
I remember when she dropped the condoms in it. I was like, what were those?
Yeah.
I didn't know what that
Look
was
at-
happening.
He's looking at her. I can't believe how good she is. You want to give me lessons? Ugh. Next thing you know, they're banging. She's not from his side of the tracks, so she really shouldn't be with him. And he's kind of flawed, but he's got this special something, and he can really
He can dance. He
You
can
can
really-
really dance, Tony. You can. You think so? For real? Yeah, you can really dance.
It
I
was a
just wanted to
simple
just dance.
time. They just wanted to dance. No
Yeah.
one does that anymore.
I know.
Just had love songs. There were so many love songs in the 70s.
Just life in general was different.
Yeah. Came
mean-
out of the Vietnam War and stuff. He just wanted to just chill out and love a little bit.
Well, as we're getting overwhelmed with data and information, this becomes more and more ridiculous. You look at making a movie exactly like this today, and you could make one of those step on up dance movies.
La La Land.
But those movies are stupid.
La La Land.
But I don't know what that is. That's the one that almost won the award.
Yeah,
Academy
it was
Award.
it was a big hit this year, and it was a musical, and there was a lot of dancing.
Well, did you see it?
I did.
How dare you?
I live with
You
girls. I
and
live with girls.
Five of the theater queens.
We weren't in the theater. We were watching it at home. I got the screener, and
Oh.
my kids wanted to see it. I didn't really enjoy it.
Well, you listen. It's an
I was-
anomaly.
I
It's
was
an
fighting a
anomaly.
raccoon while they were watching it. I was fighting a raccoon in the face.
Oh wow. It's a rough night. It's just
But it was kind of this. It was kind of dancing and la la la.
what I'm saying is this is a dumb movie. And if you wanted to make this dumb movie today, it wouldn't be so interesting. It would be silly. You'd be like, this is so silly.
Yeah.
But now that we
Things-
know more about how people are.
Uh-huh.
It's all different.
And we've seen a lot of stuff, so things can't be so shitty.
Yeah, we've seen
I was watching
everything.
I saw someone had a thing for a Speed Buggy. Remember that cartoon Speed Buggy?
No, I don't.
It was like a cartoon when we were kids.
Speed Buggy.
Speed
I
Buggy.
remember, yeah.
And it had the guy with the goggles, and they would do this little theme song, and they would go, "It's Speed Buggy,"
Look at this.
right? And they'd go Speed Buggy, and then Speed Buggy goes, "That's me."
Wait a minute. Does that have anything to do with Scooby-Doo, or are they just thieves?
I think probably the same.
Those people look exactly like the Scooby-Doo people.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, that's Scooby Doo instead of the
Yeah.
car is Scooby Doo.
Yeah, that's Shaggy.
Yeah.
That redheaded guy?
Yep.
And that's the other two people that were always hanging out with Scooby-Doo, right? The
Yeah.
jock and the cheerleader.
We're in the same clothes,
Yeah, look, that's Shaggy.
and they fight crimes, and they find out who the bad guys are.
Oh, the gorilla almost gets it. See that guy in the back? That's the jock. And the girl in the front,
Yep.
that's Veronica.
It was so simple.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you
there was-
couldn't make this now.
How about Gilligan's Island?
Speed Buggy. That's me.
Could you make Gilligan's Island without people banging? Who the fuck would believe that show? You telling me the only one that's banging is Thurston Howell and his wife?
Yeah.
They're the only ones who are banging. They're the only ones that are married.
Lovey.
Nobody else is even kissing.
Nobody. That's
Okay,
right.
the sailor, the skipper, and Gilligan, don't they have bunk beds?
They have bunk hammocks.
Yeah, is that the most obvious gay couple ever?
Get
And
over here, little buddy.
Look at this.
Look at that.
And you have two fucking smoking hot girls. And then there's the two camps. Which
Yeah.
camp are you? You Camp Ginger or you Camp Marianne?
Right.
I like a regular girl that I could take fishing.
Like
I'm
the
more of
girl
a
next
Marianne
door.
Type.
Yeah, she looks sexy
I
from
want
Italy.
a girl that looks good on the red carpet. I'm more a Ginger type. I'd rather live in Beverly Hills with
And
Ginger.
and the professor was like the intelligent one, and he wasn't that smart.
Well, he didn't get to bang either. Nobody got to bang.
Nobody banged.
The professor wasn't intelligent?
Not really. It was
Really?
like 70s science intelligence.
Oh. Well, what did they know back then?
Right now, he's like, look, I found a bird. You can tell by its wings.
Meanwhile, he's not concerned that stupid bird just lets him hold it.
Yeah.
But birds are prey. They get eaten constantly. Does that bird have any instincts? If you eat it, it's probably poisoned.
This was a hit.
Yeah.
This
now
was a hit, a
he's-
runaway hit.
He's rehabbing this bird. I think, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, Gilligan's Island was on for far less time than we think it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
believe that.
I only think it did a few seasons. How many seasons, if you had to guess?
I loved it when I was a child. Were we seeing it in reruns?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
67. 64
Oh,
to
yeah.
67. See? It's only a 3-year show.
3 years. How many episodes? 30 episodes?
That's crazy. I guess it's 4 years if they did a full season for each year.
That is pretty short.
That's crazy. How many episodes? What does it say?
I'm trying to find out. It might have been 30 per season.
Really?
That's a lot.
That's a lot in season.
Yeah.
That's a lot of storylines.
That's unusual.
That's a lot of storylines.
Usually it's 22 because you would get 13. That would be your big order, and then you would get the back 9.
This was olden times.
Well, this is real olden times where they didn't get paid. So Gilligan
Right.
and Skipper and everybody, they got fucked. So
Yeah.
they played these things. They're playing them somewhere now. So whoever owns them, they own it forever, and you don't get residuals.
Wow. Poor Gilligan.
They paved the way, though.
A lot of shitty shows, but they still make like goofy shows. You know what's interesting? Like all the kids shows that the kids get raised on, like these Disney shows and stuff. They're as goofy as all this stuff in the 70s.
Some of them are funny, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I watched Dog with a Blog with my kids.
Right.
It's called Dog with a Blog.
Oh, my God.
I think it's canceled. I think it's canceled now. And they're all bummed out 'cause
Yeah,
there's no
it
more new
is.
episodes. Dude,
My kids watched it,
It's
too.
a funny show.
Yeah.
It's good writing. Like, it makes me laugh. I've laughed. It's silly.
You know, there's something to that classic rhythm of giving you jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're traditional sitcoms. This is what sitcoms were. It's
Yeah.
just multi-camera and just joke.
Yeah.
Which is good if their jokes are good.
Yeah. It is good if the jokes are good.
Yeah.
I don't watch them anymore.
No. Well, they don't really. Well, the only ones are the ones on CBS, like Big
yeah.
Bang, and
They're the only ones who still do it?
yeah, they're the only ones that really
ABC doesn't do it anymore?
Now they're all single cam.
Still a few on
Wow.
NBC, like the Carmichael Show.
Is
It's
that one on?
NBC,
Yeah.
and
How's
That's
that?
true.
How do they do? Do they do okay?
They're still on. I think they got renewed for another season. So I mean,
Wow.
it's at least what they're looking for, probably.
It's I'm sure some people still enjoy it. If we're talking about it right now, you know.
They do work. If they're funny and there's funny characters, that's a pure. You know, it's more jokes than the single camera
It's a
stuff.
lot of work. Have you ever done one? You did one, right?
No,
Didn't you?
I had a-
you had
yeah.
well, you didn't have a sitcom. You had a
I had a sitcom
TV
for like
show.
6 episodes.
You did?
Yeah.
What was it?
It's called Come to Papa,
Come to Papa.
and it was just like a little
was it
sitcom.
on?
NBC.
Yeah, man, they
Killed
don't.
it.
They kill them. They kill them
killed
quick.
him. Yeah, it was really quick.
I'm glad I did it, but I would never do it again.
You wouldn't?
Nah. Too
Why?
much work.
Yeah.
It's so much work. It's a great thing to do if you want to be an actor, but if you want to do stand up as well,
Right. No way.
especially not in the beginning,
Yeah.
because in the beginning it's ruthless. It's like 12-hour days every day. You're always tired.
Right. And you're not even writing on it. You're just acting in it.
Yeah, but the only good thing is sometimes you have time during the day. Like you might have a couple hours break during the day. You might even be able to go to the gym. You might be able to like if you know you're not in like 4 scenes in a row.
Right.
They'll tell you like, hey, we don't need you till noon.
You can bust out of
Yeah,
there.
sometimes you could bust out,
Right.
but that's not often. But you'd be able to write a little bit maybe.
It's yeah. And whether and the guys who are in it and write on it, then forget it. Then when all the actors go home, then you go to start going to work in the writer's room.
I never forget. I had lunch with Ray Romano when he was just starting to do Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
And it was me and him and Kevin James, and we were at Jerry's Deli, and all Ray Romano, he's obsessed with his show. He's like,
Yeah.
well, how about if I had the guy, he comes in here and he walks in this door, and that's how we set up the scene. Like, he just was like, the reason why that show had become that monster hit that it
Right.
was like, he was a great comic who was obsessed with like every fiber of his being,
Right.
making this a really good show.
Yeah.
That's not like a really, really to this day underrated show.
Oh, it was
Everybody Loves
great,
Raymond.
a great family show.
Great show.
So funny.
He's a funny dude too.
Yeah,
man.
he is funny.
I worked with him in Queens, New York, at Jimmy's Comedy Alley. Do you ever know that place? Did you ever?
I heard of it. I was never there.
It was an old bowling alley that they converted to a comedy club. It was a great spot.
Was
man.
it?
It was a great spot. It was a great spot. And I was the middle act, and he was the headliner.
Nice.
Ray Romano. And I remember like sitting back after the show, after I did my set,
Yeah.
watching him, going, God damn, this guy's a good joke writer.
Yeah.
It's just so smooth, and his timing, and
I ran into him at Stand Up New York. Same thing. I
Yeah.
thought I did well, and then Ray walked in and went on. And I was like, oh boy,
he's so good.
he was really
So smooth.
yeah.
He was talking about
really
movie
in
theaters.
control.
He was talking about somebody actually. I saw another guy steal his joke, and I was so upset.
Uh.
He did this joke about movie theaters. He said, "You go with your guy friends, and there's always the 'I'm not a homo' seat." And he was like going off about the insecurity of men that they don't want to sit next to each other. And I'm like, but everybody
That's a
did
hard
that, right?
schedule, though. Well, how long were you doing it? That was
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, I did it for 5
Wow.
seasons.
That's good. That's a good run.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
It was an interesting thing to do. We did 98 or 99 episodes.
Wow.
It was weird, man. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. But
And
good.
I think, yeah. Well, no, it was an awesome thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think that today, like back then, that's all there was. There was no
Right.
reality shows. There was no anything else. There was a few dramas like cop shows and shit.
Yeah, no, there were multiple nights of all comedies.
Oh yeah. Thursday night was like all sitcoms on NBC.
Yeah.
That was like the big lineup,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And what do they have on Thursday
Must-see
night now?
TV.
So like,
I don't know. I have no idea. They have that
Law and Order.
Superstore, and I don't know.
Is
I don't
NBC
watch
Law
any
and
of
Order?
that stuff.
is Law and Order NBC?
Yes.
What the fuck is with people? Why are we so obsessed with people getting caught murdering people?
I don't know. I know someone was saying that like there's another podcast that just came out that's really popular, all about murders. It's just murders.
Oh, yeah.
People love
I'm
murders.
Sure. I'm sure.
I know. I don't get that.
They love mysteries.
Mysteries.
What's gonna happen? Dun, dun, dun.
Is he going to get caught? Will he not get caught?
You know, there's a podcast that's out now specifically about the mystery of where is Richard Simmons.
Oh, that's my podcast. It's called Come to Papa, but it's really about Richard Simmons.
Welcome back to Come to Papa. I'll be in Syracuse May 14th and 15th. And now,
Richard.
speaking of where I am, where's Richard Simmons?
Is that a real thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
real podcast? Like they can talk multiple days about that?
Forever. They can talk to the end of time if they're gay. If you're gay and you're on Adderall and you're talking about Richard Simmons, you probably keep going, keep going, keep going. He was amazing. He was a pioneer, okay? Give him some fucking respect.
To the left.
He's a goddamn pioneer. But do something about that hair. Seriously. Seriously.
Yeah, people love murder. I don't like murder. I don't like hospital shows. I don't like. My wife was addicted to autopsy shows when she was pregnant.
Whoa.
It kicked in and she couldn't stop watching
Oh,
autopsy
Jesus.
shows.
Oh,
Is
do you
that
remember
weird?
that HBO guy?
Yeah, I think that was
Dr.
it.
Michael Baden, who would catch people in the weirdest ways.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Weird.
There was one guy who was a doctor, and he had this woman, and he kept her body in his house, and he would bring in crates and crates of perfume, and he would douse her decaying body with perfume, and he had fastened some sort of a hole near where her abdomen was. When it rotted away, he put something there so that he manufactured where he could stick his dick into it, so he could get on top and he put a
Joe.
mask. He put a mask on her, and you know they were trying to figure out where the body had gone. This guy had taken the body and brought it to his house.
Oh,
It was so intense. It was so intense.
my God.
Because I remember thinking, like, wow, this guy wanted this woman so bad that once she died, he couldn't help himself. He had to, like, keep her body. Now I have her. Now she's with me. This is what I've always needed. Let me just keep covering her up with perfume. And he would get rock hard and climb on top of her rotting bag of bones and meat and stick his dick into her. He's probably had, like, a surgical mask on. She's, like, stinking of rotten meat and perfume.
I would much rather watch Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. I got a little graphic there, folks.
You got really into it, and it was disturbing.
Well, I just want...
See, this is why these shows are popular. Because of
just wanted
sickos
to-
like you.
No, man, I don't even watch that anymore. Me describing that and putting that visual image in everybody's mind is nothing like watching on TV and getting that visual image. It's so much more innocent and less guilty.
It's worse because now you made us a part of it because we had to paint it ourselves.
You got to know those people are real, though. You know, there was
Yeah,
one.
you do have to know.
Those nurse ones always freak me out. You find some nurse who's killed like 50 people. You're like, what?
Yeah, just quietly.
Quietly poisoning people.
Yeah, putting these people out.
You're not doing so good, Tom Papa. I just have a toothache.
I just
Toothache. We're gonna have to amputate. What?
wait. Hold on a minute.
Wait a minute.
This nurse is crap.
Yeah. I mean, that power rush that
Yeah.
they must get from doing crazy shit like that.
Ugh.
Those autopsy shows are fucking weird, man. It's a weird, compelling fascination.
That it happened to her while she was pregnant was like this weird, like definite, like
Yeah.
something physical and mental was happening.
You start getting nervous about your environment. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
how safe are we? What's
wanna-
going? What are people capable of?
You want to know what everything is.
And you see Ice-T kicking in the door to some house, and there's a woman gagged. You know, I'm like,
Right.
Special Victims Unit, I'm here. Body count, my new album drops Monday.
Boom, boom,
Yeah. You should have never done it.
boom, boom.
Take them away. They get them in the end, always, because it's law and order.
Bum bum.
It's not law and hopefully we have order. No, we enforce the law with iced tea.
Bum bum. And Richard Belzer. And Belzer. What a weird career
Richard
that
Belzer.
is.
Two
Belzer
a
goes
comic and a
from-
rapper.
Yeah, they just go from this important comic of his time, New York, and then boom, boom for the last 30.
Just reading stale lines for 30 years. Like, how many years was he on that show?
Yeah, I think maybe that. You think that's where the body is? Yeah. It's so weird. Probably I bet he was on that show for 15 years. Wow. Yeah, boom, boom.
That's crazy. But I guess that paycheck is just so sweet. Why would you want to go to Giggles and Saugus?
Nah, no, guy. I'm not gonna
Do a weekend. Some drunk asshole's gonna heckle you over their pizza.
Nah, I'm done with that. You'd have the sunglasses on and just that
He
attitude.
moved to Paris.
Nah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When you live in New York and you work in New York,
Yeah.
you can live in Paris. That's like
It's not far away.
It's 5 hours flight.
It's like, yeah, it's coming here.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
like coming here.
You just
It's
gotta go
like
through customs.
New York's in the middle, and so like Johnny Depp lived in Paris for a while.
Yeah.
That
I
didn't
wouldn't
work
do that.
out, did it?
No, because he started hammering people.
Hammering them.
I don't know. I go to vacations and I'm like, go to like some foreign country and you're like, this
Poor
is so
bastards.
great. And it's like after a couple days, you're like, I got to get back to the States.
Yeah, I don't understand people like, I'm moving to Costa Rica. Fuck it. I'm like,
No.
what? You're doing what?
Right.
Wait a
Exactly.
minute. No. You visit there.
Yeah,
You
that's
visit.
vacation.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why would you move there?
I want to go live there.
Costa Rica's amazing, bro. It is amazing. It's amazing when you visit. But if you live there, you would go, oh, you have to bribe the cops.
You got to, right.
Oh, this is a total. I was in Costa Rica on vacation with my fucking kids, dude. I'm walking my kids on the beach, and this guy goes, "Hey, man, do you want weed? Do you want coke? What do you want? You want girls?" I'm like, "Hey, listen,
Yeah.
buddy, come on, man. I'm here.
Yeah.
I want all those things, but I don't want it right now."
They don't have a real police force, fire force. The running water's intermittent. No, give me
What?
convenience.
One time I was in Mexico and I was at this resort and they had these like electric golf carts. You could take the carts out of the resort
Yeah.
to go to the local town. And so we left the resort and went to the local town, and maybe a block outside of the resort, there was a full-on military compound. I mean, full on, with dudes standing there, fully armed, in a Jeep, an armored Jeep with like a bulletproof face, like a tank
Yeah,
face,
yeah.
where they like duck down while they're driving so they don't get shot. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, what in the hell?
On
And
the
then
street.
I realized, oh, this is to protect the resort.
Wow, my God.
Oh,
Of course.
It changed my entire feeling of what I was doing.
Yeah, of course.
Before I was like, hey, we're relaxing.
All those places.
We're on the beach. We're gonna have
Jamaica,
some-
man.
Yeah, we're going to have some Mai Tais and kick back and look, the
Yeah.
sun. And it's so beautiful. I love Mexico. I don't know why everybody thinks it's dangerous. And be like, right outside the
It's
fucking door,
true.
there's tanks. They got guys with machine guns.
And if they're not there, we're
You're
all
fucked.
dead.
Oh, you're fucked. You're fucked. Was it because the people from the town will just go, why do they have so much and we don't?
They're
and
so
here?
they're so poor, and then you're bringing in all these people with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. It was
I was
weird.
in. I just went to the Dominican Republic,
Oh, yeah?
and they're like, I said, "Where do you stay?" And they're like, "Punta Cana." That's where I was doing the show, and they're like, "That's the only place to stay." I was like, "Is it that bad?" And as I'm landing, I like just look up Dominican Republic, and someone was doing a Facebook Live thing, like in a studio, and some guy walked in and just shot him in the middle of it. That was like happening as I'm like nervously trying to find my guide to bring me to the resort. It's always just on the outskirts of these places. Yeah.
Well, that was going on in Acapulco. I remember during the drug war when it was at its worst.
Oh,
when
yeah.
the Mexican drug war was going on down there.
Yeah.
In Acapulco, a bunch of people got shot, like tourists and shit.
Jeez. No, it's serious stuff. My parents went to Mexico when I was a boy and brought back a shirt that was a Mexican guy, and his sombrero said Acapulco and his bow tie said gold. So
Uh-oh.
Acapulco gold. That was my cool shirt when I was
Wow.
like 10.
Tom Papa knows where the good weed is.
My
Yeah, they would grow weed in Acapulco. They would call it Acapulco Gold.
Acapulco gold.
That was the shit.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that?
I got the shirt.
I never had any of that stuff.
Me
that was
neither.
back when I didn't smoke weed.
I bet it wasn't that great.
Not compared to this science weed they have now.
No way. No way.
These goddamn wizards.
Yeah, I get uncomfortable in those places. I always want to be like the cool photojournalist who kind of hangs out with the people and doesn't worry and just goes to their house and has a meal. But I'm totally on guard and nervous when I'm in places like that, especially if I'm with my family. You get it?
Well, if you're in a real poor area and you're a bunch of wealthy white people that are fucking vacationing.
Yeah.
It's weird because the area needs it because it provides, like your revenue comes in and it helps them and it gives people that live there jobs. But
Yeah.
it's again like we were talking about, like going outside of Albany. You just drive 2 hours outside of Albany. Like, where the fuck am I? It's the same thing out there.
Yeah.
But probably more extreme.
Right, exactly, because there's not as many cops.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And being a cop is a different thing.
Yeah.
If everybody's corrupt.
Right. No,
you seen Narcos?
Yeah.
Woo.
Ooh.
Goddamn.
Intense.
Goddamn, that's a good show.
Yeah.
Narcos is scary. Pablo Escobar lived a fucking crazy life.
What a crazy life with his pot belly.
Yeah.
Just
how did he do that?
I know.
It's amazing how far some people get with insane behavior.
It really is amazing, isn't it?
Like, whoa, that guy was...
Just completely like, no, I'm going to make this work. This is how my head works.
Man, he was blowing up government buildings and...
Airplanes?
Yeah.
Scary.
Built his own jail. Put himself in a jail. Was partying in there.
Yeah.
Bringing in bitches and playing pool and lifting weights.
Handing out cash to the people. He was a hero.
And then afterwards, he's like, you know what? I'm tired of being in this fucking place. Murdered a guy in the jail. Beat him in the head with a bat.
Yeah.
And then he's like, fuck this place. I'm
Just
getting out. I'm leaving. Just left.
His little sneakers.
So crazy.
Running down the path.
But this is all real. Like,
I
he
know,
really,
it's
he really did all these
insane.
things.
It's insane.
That
When you
wasn't-
think how far that is from how you live your life. You know what I mean? It's so far away.
And it just happened.
Yeah, it's happening right now. Some new guy's on his way working up the ladder.
How about when Sean Penn went down and met El Chapo and took that fucking picture with him?
Yeah.
It's like, how crazy is
Yeah.
Sean Penn?
Was there ever an article about that? Like, was there ever like an interview with him? And
He wrote it. Sean Penn wrote it.
I never read it.
I read it.
I remember the thing going down, but I don't remember.
It was weird. It was like, I don't understand like what he was trying to do, like why he decided to do that. Look at that fucking picture. That picture is insane, dude.
Why did he do it?
'Cause he's crazy. He's a wild man. Sean Penn is a wild man. I mean, he really is. You have to be to do this. I had one opinion of him before, and then I had a different opinion of him after this.
Yeah.
Like, this guy, he actually did that. Like, he actually went there.
Into the woods, right? Didn't they put a hood over him or a blindfold and take
I
him
don't
to the
remember
woods?
how it all happened, but there was some girl who was friends with El Chapo. El Chapo's probably slinging dick her way the same way. The same way Pablo Escobar was that really hot reporter.
The
in
reporter,
show.
yeah.
So El Chapo was probably stuffing that girl too, and he's like, "I want you to give me Sean Penn."
Right. You're exactly right. That's exactly what happened.
She's like, "I don't know. I don't know if he'll do it. He'll do it.
He'll do it.
He'll do it. Give me Sean Penn.
I want that boy from Colors.
Get me
He'll
the dude
know.
from Fast Times at Ridgemont High."
He'll understand the good part of drugs.
And that's right. He was in Colors.
He was in Colors.
I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. Ice-T. It goes full circle. We're back to Ice-T again.
I did a show last night, a charity show, and Common was on the show.
The rapper turned, now he's a big-time actor, right?
Actor and poet.
Poet.
Man, what a yeah, he's a poet.
Slow your roll, son.
He's
Just because you make shit rhyme. I'm published.
he's a positive force. That guy. He is a
That's
good.
good.
He's a good one for sure.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was. I was impressed.
The world needs more poets, Tom Papa.
It sure does.
Not really.
Let me count the ways.
Poetry, boy, that's one thing. You better be good. You better be good.
You're right.
And even if you are, half the people are going to hate it.
It's like a comic. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
if you're bad, it's really bad.
And even if you're good, half you're going to hate it.
Right.
There's going to be a certain amount of people that hate you no matter what. You can do your best shit ever. And some people could say, like, you'll get like 4 tweets in a row about a special. Fucking amazing, amazing. Very disappointed. There's going to be people that hate everything.
Yeah, in your audience of people who are coming to see, coming to see you, there's going to be a couple people like, nah,
And there's also people that you're never going to make happy no matter what.
no,
Because they're just twats.
it's impossible.
They just suck.
Twat's
it's-
such a fun word.
It's a great word.
Twat is a good one.
They let us say twat on TV. You can say twat on TV. right?
You could say
Can't you?
twat?
I bet you
I don't
can.
think you can say twat.
If a girl says it, my mom's a twat. Or
My mom's a twat.
You can't say lick my twat.
You
If you
can't
say
say
lick my twat. If a girl said lick my twat, you should really think about not doing it.
I don't.
Any girl that says lick my twat, you go, whoa, 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 it's a twat?
You're what?
Okay. Why
What do you
have a
call
twat?
it?
I was banging this girl once
Yeah.
back in the Disney when I was 20, and she was the first girl to ever call her pussy a cunt. She
Oh.
said, I want you to fuck me in my cunt. I was like, whoa.
Hello.
This girl was crazy. She was one of those nether regions girls. She was like the Wildings. You know how the Wildings were in the Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
You know those people that lived out in the land between the kingdoms?
Right.
She lived in Connecticut, which is my map. That's where the Wildings lived. In those weird towns.
Between New York and Massachusetts.
Westbury, Connecticut or some shit like that. You're like, what are you doing here? She was just crazy.
Was she really?
She
Like
was
legit
so
crazy?
She was so crazy. I went to the bathroom once, and she gave my friend her phone number like immediately. This is after I'd already been having sex with her. I had sex with her that day, and she gave my friend her phone number. She was just,
No.
she was crazy. But you know, women don't like any guy that would not tell you that some girl gave, you know, that you're dating gave him her number. That's like
Yeah.
a bad guy to have.
Did he tell you?
Fuck yeah, he did.
Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
he goes, dude. He goes, that crazy bitch. As soon as you went to pee, she gave me her number. I go, no way. He goes, and showed me the piece of paper. I go, that's cute. He goes, go show it to her. I go, okay. I go, did you leave this with my friend? And
No.
yes, I did. And I
You called
started
her out?
laughing. Yeah, I started laughing.
What'd she say?
She was so stupid. She was crazy. She was more crazy than she was stupid.
And did you see her often?
I saw her when I would go to Connecticut.
Right.
Like every, 5-6 months for like a year and a half.
Right.
And then the last one was like, I gotta stop hanging out with this girl. She was way too crazy.
Yeah.
She came to one of my comedy shows, and she brought these people that might as well been screaming baboons trapped in a cage at the zoo while people threw water balloons at them. They were screaming. They were heckling and screaming. And then I got
my
on stage,
God.
and I left her there. I left her and her friends there. I just bolted. As soon as I got off stage, I just went outside, got in my car, and just drove. And back then, when you drove, you were gone, man. Nobody had a cell phone.
That's right. You could
just-
escape.
Yeah.
You could escape.
I actually had a cell phone before that, but I couldn't afford it anymore, so I didn't have a cell. I had a car phone for a while, in like 1989.
Nice.
But this was like a year or two after that. It was like 90 or 91, so I don't even think anybody could get a hold of me. I
How
was gone.
cool. You could just get in a car and go.
Oh, yeah.
No one could find you.
You just go.
That's so great.
Well, I used to have these, like, one of the things I really like about these yellow legal pads is that these yellow legal pads, to me, they have like this different feel to them because that's what I would write all the directions to any of the places that I would go to.
Right.
Because there was no internet back then. So you would get like a gig from like the Comedy Connection, like Billy Downs would be booking a room, you'd call him up, and he would give you the directions. You go, okay,
Take
you ready? You got a
A95.
pen? You got a pen? You're like, yeah, hold on a second. And it was always, I would write it all on these yellow legal pads. And then I would write down the address, the directions, how to get there, what to look for. There's a third barn, that's the one you want to turn. And then you'll see the fucking Wings hut.
Is that
you're gonna-
amazing?
So crazy.
It's
But
amazing.
I would have them with me, and I'd be all excited because look at that piece of paper. I'd be like, I'm a hitman.
Yeah.
I'm going out to do a job. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Badass. I'm driving out in the middle of nowhere to go
The
to a gig.
disconnected lands.
Yeah.
You go to these places, like in
Isn't
New
that wild?
Hampshire and shit,
Yeah, one-nighters, just drive,
Vermont.
do a show, drive back, same night.
Yeah. I met this pretty girl once in Maine. She was really pretty. And she had nose rings. I think she had 2 nose rings. I think she had a ring in each nostril. And like she was still pretty.
Yeah, if you're
Like,
pretty,
it was-
that works.
But it was and we were hanging out, and it was just too heavy. It's like she was so trapped in this weird Maine town.
Oh, yeah.
And I was only 21, and
Right.
I was seeing like where her path was, and where my path was.
Right.
And like I didn't even want to have sex with her because of it. It was
Oh,
so,
really?
It was so heavy.
Because you knew that,
She was trapped in this like weird land.
and if you had sex with her, you
I
have
would
to
have
either
some sort
get
of a
her
bond
out,
with her.
right? Or
Well,
you
not that I would get her out. I was just like the whole thing to me was like so bonkers It's like she was describing her life and all the different people
Right.
in her family that were like abusive and all this
Oh, man.
craziness. I was like, oh my God, this is so heavy.
Right.
And I realized if you just by an unfortunate roll of the dice were literally shat out of your mom's vagina in the forest, and there's some weird bar that everybody in this forest town gravitates to, and then some industrious person from Boston decides, well, we're going to book that bar, and we would drive up to those places and
Yeah.
you'd meet these poor people that were trapped there.
just
And some of them are
trapped.
cool as fuck. Some of them are really cool. Some of them have great families. Some of them love it up there.
Yeah.
But not this girl.
Yeah.
This girl
trapped.
was, I'll never forget, like her just,
Well, especially at that age, imagine
Yeah.
like being a girl in that situation where it's just like these animals, one of these guys
Yeah.
in this pack is going to be the one.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Or some new dude who just came from out of town to tell jokes.
At least now with social media, you see that there's options out there. Like you see other people
Oh,
living
yeah.
lives in different places, or
Sure.
so you can at least you're aware that there's there's somewhere I could go.
Well, also, you are also aware that there's other communities where you could probably thrive in. You know, you can
Right.
make friends online, and you can
Yeah.
literally find out where's a good place to live. You can get a job online. You could save up your money. You can go somewhere, and you can get out of there.
Yeah. This is what I was thinking. Don't you remember that there were kids like working places all the time when you were growing up?
Oh yeah, from the
Right?
time I was like 14, kids were working.
You would there'd be kids working at the diner, there'd be kids working at the pizza place, at the ice cream shop, at the gas station. You don't see kids working anymore.
It's true. It's
Why?
true.
What happened? Are the jobs just taken by adults who need them?
Goddamn Mexicans come over here and steal our children's jobs. It used to be a good job for children.
Is that just where we grow up that there's no kids working? Like, are they doing it?
Yeah, we live in California. There's all these white people out here.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
But I grew up in New Jersey, and we weren't that far from the city.
See, again, we're old people talking about young people. These kids today.
No, we're not. But
yeah,
I mean,
we don't know. It's like what we're talking about with high school. Like, they don't fucking know what they're talking about.
We're not judging them.
Dudes in their 40s talking about high school.
We're trying to learn. But there used to be kids working everywhere.
We're speculating now. We don't know.
Hmm.
People get upset if you're speculating. You see that shit somebody did on Twitter? Some comic dude got mad at me. Because I was talking to Gavin about gay people. We were talking about not even gay people. We were talking about specific incidences that have been in the news, like Milo Yiannopoulos
Yeah.
having that thing fall out from under him because he said like it's acceptable for older men. He was essentially saying it's acceptable for older men to have sex with younger guys.
13-year-old boys.
And they were talking about George Takei, who talked about that as well. It happened to him at summer camp. Like some older dude had sort of busted moves on him and jerked him off and shit. And it was pleasurable and he enjoyed it. And we were talking about it like, wow, it's like it's an intense subject.
Right.
This guy got upset that we were talking about it without a gay perspective. Like, I think it was
So you're
really
not
just
allowed to speak about it?
attention
Try and
whoring.
figure it out?
I think it was attention whoring, and maybe he just saw the green light to be upset, and so he went for it. But
Right,
it wasn't
right.
wasn't
A
rational.
comic?
Yeah, Guy Branum, is that his name? Whatever. We worked it out online. He was friendly afterwards, and he apologized, and I apologized.
Right.
It was one of those things where it's like people though do get
Yeah.
they tend to feel like they're allowed to get upset if
Yeah.
you're talking about something that you don't have experience with,
I know.
even if it's something
But you
in the
can't
news.
discuss it.
It's ridiculous.
Right. You're not allowed to try and figure it out.
Well, that's
What learning is. That's what learning
Right.
is. Coming from something that you don't know anything about and asking questions and having a discussion about it.
That's when you know something's bullshit. When you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not even allowed to talk about it.
Right.
You can't discuss even politely.
Right.
You can't respectfully talk about it. Well, then your thing is bullshit.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, you have no argument. You have
Yeah.
no side.
Well, there's always this thing, right? And it's this is a big thing in certain circles when it comes to disenfranchised people, or you hear when it comes to gender and sex, you hear it like, you know, you should like that's one of the wonderful things that male feminists love to say. They love to say, just shut up and listen to the women. You need to shut up and listen to the women. Well, that's crazy. You
Yeah.
should never shut up, because even if you're being respectful,
Right.
if someone says something and you'd like them to clarify, or you're confused,
Yeah.
or maybe you have some information that they might not be aware of, that might change their thought on things, like being engaged in a conversation with someone is not necessarily a negative thing, but everyone is assuming that if you're not a girl, you shouldn't talk about girl issues. Well, that's crazy.
Right. You shouldn't have any perspective.
If you're
not part of the world.
If you're not a girl, if you're not a guy, if you're not gay, if you're not straight, if you're not, you shouldn't talk about it.
So what you're saying when you're asking people not to talk about it is you're saying it would be better if your whole part of the population stays ignorant of what's going on, and
or
we
just listen,
and we just stay where we are.
Just listen. I'll tell you.
Right.
You just listen. I'll tell you.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's completely insane.
Well, it's a power thing. Is what it is. And when certain things develop too much social clout, when subjects hit like this critical mass of social clout.
Yeah.
Or like when the whole Bruce Jenner thing was going on, where you had to say that she was beautiful and you had to say that you accepted it and you had to say it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, wasn't she just a fucking Kardashian just a little while ago?
Right.
Isn't this a ridiculous, insane family?
Yeah.
And wasn't this guy like the dumbest one on the show? Like,
right.
What just happened?
Right.
Didn't this guy just push a lady into traffic with his car because he wasn't paying attention and killed her?
Yeah.
And we don't pay attention to that, but we pay attention to this whole gender change.
Yeah. It's gonna make you give a pass to all that other behavior.
And it'll make you seem like a really progressive and open-minded person if you say all the right things.
Right.
Tom Papa, what's your opinion?
Let me just say, I think she's very brave and she's beautiful.
And a hero.
But, right.
She's a hero.
And a hero.
Hero.
You know what I kept doing with my daughters to drive them crazy? They were 11 and 14. We're watching the Oscars. Anyone that came on that was a little chubby, male or female, I would just say, "Oh my God, look at him. He's so brave." Look at her. She's so brave.
My 5-year-old.
Dad, that's just a new way to say you think she's fat. No, I think, look at that. I mean, she's wearing that dress on TV. Dad.
My 5-year-old doesn't give a fuck. My 5-year-old, she's 6 now, but when she was 5, she was watching Caitlyn Jenner, my youngest, I should just say. She was watching Caitlyn Jenner on TV, and she goes, "Daddy, why does that man wear a dress and makeup like that?" She's like shaking her head. She goes, "Why does that man wear a dress and makeup like that?" I go, "I don't know." That's how she identifies. It's a she now. She turns from a man into a woman. Yeah. And she just looked at me and she just like leaned her head back and raised her eyebrows and left. She walked away. I was like, that kid she left the room. She just left the room. She's like, "Bitch, please." Without saying it, she said, "Bitch, please." She pulled her chin closer to her chest, lifted her eyebrows up, and then just the fuck out of here. You just told me that man turned into a woman. I know it's a man. I'm looking at her. It's a man.
Daddy.
And she's like, "Daddy, why does that man have a dress on and makeup?" And I was like, well, she used to be a man, but she became a woman.
I like her walking out of the room is kind of blaming you too. Like, all you adults are a mess.
She's like, "You are retarded. That can't even happen. I'm 6 and I know it can't happen." Or 5 at the time.
Daddy, I'm not stupid.
"Oh, you think I'm stupid, okay? Yeah, this is some Santa Claus bullshit you're fucking running by me. Like I'm supposed to think the tooth fairy comes in and sneaks money under my seat." The whole thing is it
is so funny. I mean, that is a big part of what the election was about. Like talking, you making us say and think things, or just letting things be real.
Well, it goes in cycles. We go one way and we go the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. It's just like we got tired of people going so hard politically correct. But you see how there's progress in that, like we were talking about the kids in school.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't
that's good.
People would walk into our schools. Kids would walk up to other kids that were kind of slow. "What are you, retarded?"
Yeah.
Like right to their face. "Look at him. He's a sped. He's retarded." That doesn't exist anymore. And
I think it still exists. It just exists less and not where your kids go to school in comparison to where you go to school. I mean, I bet if you're in LA Unified and you're hanging out in Compton, I bet you see some bad shit in school.
Yeah,
there's probably
There's
probably some bad shit still going on in a lot of schools. A lot of kids are getting bullied. And people understand the consequences of that now. Like you're scared to go to class because someone's going to hit you. Scared to go to class, someone's beating you.
But bullying was just part
of
life.
It
wasn't bullying. It was just life back then.
But it was just bullying, and it did ruin people's lives.
It did, but nobody called it out. No adult would help you out with it.
No.
It's just the way it went.
You had to learn how to take care of shit.
And everyone was being bullied by somebody else. It was it was dog eat dog. It was.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. I think that you're right. I mean, the politically correct thing, it swings that way and you're left with some good stuff and everybody adjusted, and then it goes too far and you start to go after things that don't affect a lot of people, and then people get fed up by it.
Well, the thing is, those people that go too far with all that politically correct stuff, they're almost always emotionally unbalanced. So given enough time, they will reveal themselves to be either crazy or
Right.
power hungry or like really like there's
Yeah.
a big part of that whole social justice warrior movement is really about shaming people, like expressing anger, attacking people,
Gaining power.
punching people that disagree with you, like punch fascists, punch Nazis, like be
Right.
aggressive about it, and that somehow or another this is a good thing, as if because they're so delusional and so detached from real physical violence that they have this idea that
Right.
you're just going to go out there and push these people and take it back. No, they're going to show up with guns, you fuck.
Yeah.
Like this is how wars get started.
That's
People
right.
escalate, you try to control people, you push too far, you're not kind. Instead, you're shaming people, you're creating bad feelings and aggression. Like they've got this juvenile idea about confrontation
Right.
that it just goes out there and it never comes back to you. It
Yeah.
always comes back
Good
to
luck.
you.
Yeah. Good
It always
luck.
it comes back. It comes back.
Yeah. No, it's people are, I think, striving for kindness is a good thing. I really think that trying to be nice to people, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But then if you're trying to be so nice that now you're the aggressor, you've gone over the side of the cliff.
100%. And
You know?
that's what happens. That's what people do. They go
Yeah.
so far left, they go around the fucking equator,
Right.
and they wind up on the right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it just happens. You
That-
become a fascist to fight off the fascists. That's what happens.
Round and round they go.
And the people that are effective with it, one of the things that's happening is they outdo each other, they feed off of each other, they play to each other, they're playing to the room, and they ramp it up. So they know that there's other people that agree with them, and then they see how far they can take it, and the further you can take it, like, oh my God, Mike is so hardcore. Well, he's not as hardcore as Paul. Paul's out there struggling. He's in Guatemala right now. You know what I mean? It's like they push so hard
Yeah.
on like this social justice front that they're like doing it for each other and impressing each other and impressing these communities of people that get together. And then somewhere along the line, they forget how cruel they're being to people who disagree with them.
Yeah.
They're being vicious and nasty, and they're trying to shame people and write blogs about them and attack them in videos. And they do not realize that while they're doing this, they're just setting a process in motion that is unavoidable. You're putting out negative, and it's going to come back.
Right.
And you, not only that, you're going to feel personally the effects of all that stuff. Like when you're shitting on people and you ruin someone's life with some hate blog or something like that, and then that person attacks you, and
Toxic.
yeah, and people are going to know that you did that, so they're going to want to come back to you.
Right.
And they're going to feel that you put something out there, so they're going to root for something to come back your way. Like,
I don't know how people survive that way. I
that's
really
their
don't.
game. That's their game because
it's
they don't have
gross.
real physical conflict.
Yeah,
so
I think
their
they
conflict
probably
becomes that.
They probably came from families where they like to fight a lot, and it was like they're kind of built for that. There's no sensitivity to.
No, they get programmed.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
strange existence.
Well, we've all been in arguments before, and we've all had that feeling after it's over, that gross feeling of the conflict feeling, like, ugh,
Yeah, like ugh.
I hate this. Like, how did I get sucked into this again? Like, what did I do? Like, why did I react like that? Like, why am
Yeah.
I here? And there's people that have that feeling, and they're constantly trying to avoid those situations, but they still come up occasionally, and then they feel even worse when they come up.
Right.
Like, for me, conflict today feels so much worse than conflict felt like 10 or 15 or 20 years ago.
You personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm involved in conflict, I'm so much more sensitive to how
Yeah.
other people feel than I used to be. Like
Yeah.
20 years ago, if I was in an altercation with someone, I would like, dude, go fuck yourself. Bye.
Really?
And I'd walk away like it was nothing. I
Really?
wouldn't think twice. And then as I got older, I'd always think, like, how am I coming off to that person? Like, maybe I could have handled it better. Like, maybe the communication, if I was just more calm initially, they would have been more calm, and we could have laughed it off, you know? Like
Yeah.
that kid in the pool hall.
Right.
But the kid in the pool hall was not a threat, and he was a young kid, and I saw it, and I was like, what are you doing,
Right.
man? You're going to get hurt. Like, don't do that. But this as I get older, there's this revelation that a lot of what we get into, a lot of these confrontations and arguments and disputes, and a lot of negativity is all avoidable. Like, it's not worth the attack.
No, it's not. I always felt that way, that it's a little more zen-like to
Let it
go with it.
Yeah.
And then my buddy was saying, no, you're more like codependent. You're like, you're trying to make other people happy to a point where it's a negative for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
when you were talking about you being 20 and just being like, go fuck yourself. It's like,
Yeah.
I never had that. And I was always a little envious of that.
I had too much of it.
Like being on the road and somebody cuts you off and it's just like you feel so bad, and you're like, if someone gives you the finger, it's like I carry that with me all day. It's such an upsetting
No, I would still be
interaction.
upset. I would still, get me wrong, I would still be upset all day.
Oh, you would?
Yeah, but I wouldn't feel bad.
Right.
I would be like, that fucking piece of shit. Like what I would
be
like
more
to do to
angry
him.
at
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I wouldn't feel bad that like, I could have avoided that confrontation.
Right.
I wouldn't feel that. I'd have a stupid way of looking at it, where instead of like being philosophical about my own role in having this take place, and my own inability to manage the communication better.
How to handle
Yeah,
it.
it's like everything else. Like you get better at catching balls. You know, like some dudes are way better at catching a baseball than you, right?
Right.
And if you go out and try to catch that baseball, you're like, it couldn't be caught. It was out of my hands.
Right.
But meanwhile, someone who's way better at it will just snatch it out of the sky and be like, I
Right.
got this, easy out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
really essentially the same thing when you're communicating with people. If you're not good at communicating, you have these awkward moments,
Mm-hmm.
and you're as much responsible for someone else getting even if they did something wrong.
Yeah.
Like you're as much as responsible for it going bad as they are in a way.
It's a difficult thing because you can sometimes be very aware of it and very sensitive to people and try and make everything cool, and then somebody says something or does something,
Yeah.
and there's something inside us that just flares.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Especially
no.
with booze.
Yeah. It's just like, no. No, you know, and it catches you by surprise. It's like,
Yeah, but the problem is when it catches me by surprise, I'm always like, oh my god, my mouth is moving faster than my brain here.
Right.
I'm just saying aggressive things, and I haven't thought this through. Like that, people do that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, better be poised for violence. So you're like, oh, like your brain's on. Then the communication skills are even worse because I'm not really thinking about communicating. I'm thinking if I feel like you're moving in my direction
Right.
too quickly,
yeah.
I'm gonna act.
Right.
You know, like so we're in this stage.
Do you, because because you know violence or you know fighting, you've been trained in it, you know it, you've lived aspect of it, does it put you more on alert physically when you're out in the world?
I've seen people get punched. I've seen people get punched where they didn't expect to get punched. I've seen people get sucker punched and knocked unconscious. It's fucking terrifying.
But I'm saying,
And people
do you-
do it. I
but-
know the consequences of it.
No, but do you when you walk around the street, are you looking for violence more than
No.
someone that wasn't trained? Not to
Definitely.
engage in
Oh
it.
no, I know what you're saying.
Just
yeah,
to
no,
see it.
No.
Are you aware of it happening more?
I definitely try to be aware when there's men and they're drinking.
Right.
Whenever there's men and they're drinking, or if you're in a poor neighborhood, like we're talking about, being outside of a resort in Mexico and you see the military and you realize why it's there.
Yeah.
I just think that for the most part, you're safe. Like almost
Right.
everywhere. It's being a man, especially.
Right.
I think if you're a woman, it'd be a very different thing.
Right.
Because you have two things going on. You got one, the majority of the people around you that are men can overpower you.
Right.
And two, the majority of people that are men might fuck you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, if you're an
They're in-
attractive woman in particular and you're walking around, you have a nice body, like you're just a goddamn asshole target. Like
Yeah,
everywhere
that's
you
what
go.
they're thinking. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you put those
exactly.
yoga pants on, those Lululemons,
Yeah.
those fuchsia
Oh, my
yoga
God.
pants, and you got that big juicy ass, and you're walking down the mall.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get bombed on. It's gonna happen.
Are you
Guys
saying
gonna
when
take
I do
chances.
it?
Yes,
When I
yes,
wear it.
Yeah, you're a juicy guy.
But when you're not in those heightened situations, you're not thinking.
no,
Right.
But when
okay.
people get inflamed, I get super nervous.
Because it's
I'm like,
similar to the gun thing. It's similar to like,
well, it is a gun thing.
well, if you have a gun,
yeah,
you're
looking
living
for it.
your reality's different,
right.
right?
Well, there's that, but there's also like when people get upset, and we were talking about things ramping up, like the momentum of them gets away from you, and then you're saying things you haven't thought out yet.
Yeah.
People make actions that they haven't thought out yet, and you're a reasonable guy, and I try to be pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
And if I'm saying this and I'm admitting to that the emotions can get carried away, especially when there's danger involved, and
Right.
I can get to saying things that I should have probably never said because
Right.
it just got away from me. What about an idiot?
Yeah.
What about an idiot who's been abused as a child? What about an idiot who's been beaten and
Yeah.
abused as a child, and it's almost like feels like they're at such a deficit of love, and they are owed so much violence that they're very capable of inflicting violence on random people for
Yeah.
no reason.
That's just how they're programmed.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about real leaders, if we had real leaders and real direction in this country, we would fix the educational system in these bad neighborhoods and spend a ton of money to try to rejuvenate these neighborhoods, or have some sort of a plan.
Yeah.
To eliminate crime, to reduce crime, rather, to make it so it's safer.
And you got to start with kids when they're really, really young.
Yeah.
You can't wait until they're 16, 17 and go in and just throw some money at it and expect it to work.
You got to just dump tons of money into it.
You know, the private sector is the thing that does that more than
it's
the
profitable.
government.
Well, with the
It's
government,
profitable, or even the nonprofits. Like, I did this gig last night when I was staying with Common last night. It was this group called the Help Group.
So did you do stand-up?
I did stand-up and hosted the whole night.
Oh.
And it's all about kids. It's in L.A., and it's all about helping autistic kids with special needs. And you just watch. It's such a nice thing to see all these people donating money, spending the night to support this school, that this woman's passion, just purely to help autistic kids survive and find a way in the world.
That's awesome.
Like, those kind of efforts, when you see like Bill Gates giving all of his money, there's so
course
much
he does,
positive.
See, but Bill Gates is trying to find programmers for Windows 30. He's just seeing them now, and it's like autistic kids. They're fucking wicked good at programming. They sit in front of a computer, little freaks. Just give them coffee.
He calls it a camp, but it's really the back of Microsoft.
Come on, no, I can't. Hey, Billy, do you know that ones and zeros can represent computer language? What does that mean? Sit them down. This is interesting. Show me more.
Tell your parents you want to live with me, Kenny.
You can stay in the place where I keep my submarine. Wow, interesting. How's it propelled? Nuclear powered submarine. And you get them. Yeah.
But it really is pretty hopeful when you see these private groups with a lot of money, like, pushing it.
Well,
the government
feeling,
doesn't do it anymore.
That feeling, anytime, like someone's doing something nice, that feeling of, a person's doing a nice thing.
Did you see what the Pope said about panhandlers last week?
That you can fuck them like you fuck kids?
Oh, you read it.
No, this Pope is anti-kid fucking. He's not like that last guy.
No, he's totally not into it.
No, what did he say?
Said that he said, in the question of whether you should give or not, it always comes up, and you think, well, what is he going to use the money on? Is it just for drugs, or is it? Am I doing it just to make myself feel better? All these kind of questions come up when you pass someone who's asking you for money, and he said, there's never anything wrong with giving. There's never anything wrong with giving to someone who's asking. They're asking for some reason. As a human being, it's okay to give, and I thought that's great. And then I thought, but what he's not taking into consideration is, but then what about the guy? Then you walk a block, and there's another guy, and another guy.
You run out of money.
You run out of money, or you then decide, no, I gave to that guy, and you're still in that space of, no, I'm a good person, but you still have to go through all that stuff in your head.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah, when do you decide?
Yeah, at what point does it stop?
I'm good enough.
The Pope has never been to Santa Monica.
Oh, that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. One after the other. Those homeless dudes with backpacks.
Yeah.
And dogs.
Right.
The homeless dudes with dogs are the weirdest. Like, you are not
So weird.
planning anything, you fuck.
I know.
How are you feeding your dog when you don't have a roof?
It's so shitty.
It's totally shitty.
I know.
But it's also broken people. It's like, well, who raised that guy? Well, I guarantee you it wasn't some really awesome dad like Tom
No.
Papa in some really nice neighborhood.
No.
And everybody loved him, and there's a lot of family and friends around. And
No.
it wasn't
Hard
any of that.
times.
Hard times, man.
Hard, fucked up times.
Yeah.
It's hard being a person even if you're just normal.
Yep.
If you're just, it's hard to keep it together.
It is, man. It's hard for everybody, for all of us. And it's hard for a bunch of reasons. And one of the biggest reasons is that the reality of being a human being does not make sense. It just doesn't.
Right. Well, you need a job to do. You got to keep yourself busy.
That's the only way. You have
really
to have a
do.
passion. Otherwise, you start thinking, oh, here I am, clinging to this ball as it hurls through infinity.
Right.
And
You got to
worrying
pick
about the news.
When I remember, like when your kids first show up, some of their first toys, are like kitchen sets and workbenches, and they just gravitate to it and want to do a project, and they make together a fake breakfast and bring it over to you, waddle to you, and give it to you. They want to be busy. You want your head to do something. You have to feed your brain some activity. You really do.
Well,
If you
that's why
don't
TV's so dangerous.
It doesn't have to be something big either. It could be something small. Just
Yeah.
be into something.
That's why TV's so dangerous, because you could live your whole life without ever developing any interest.
That's right.
You're just going from show to show to show, and your mind is now occupied on some other actions, extraneous actions. They're not even in your immediate vicinity.
It's a positive thing when people ask me if I've seen this show, and I'm like, no. What? We just binged it. You've got. If the more shows I say I haven't seen, it means I'm doing something right.
Yeah, I
You know
allow
what I mean?
myself one show.
Do you? You have a rule?
I allow myself one show that I'm watching.
Oh, that's a good rule.
Yeah, right now it's House of Cards, which is great because I just got into it a little bit ago. So I'm only on season 3, and there's like 2 whole seasons to watch.
Right. That's good. That's
but
a good
one
spot
show is good. So if I watch an hour of TV a night, that's good.
That's a lot.
It's plenty.
That's a lot. I can't. You should be doing something else.
I need to do more shit though.
Why? You got the
feeling
bow?
right now. No, but I'm feeling right now I need to do something new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm stagnant because I'm constantly in motion. It's all very positive, and I appreciate all the good things that are happening, and I appreciate all the people that enjoyed the podcast and the comedy shows and all that stuff. But man, right now I feel like I need to wrap my brain around something fresh and novel and new.
Have you ever tried baking bread?
Not interested.
It's so good.
I don't even eat it.
But you can give it. Your kids probably do.
Well, I give my kids shit that I won't even eat. Ridiculous. How dare you? Bread tastes awesome. I would do bread like once a week.
It is
so maybe I would cook bread on Sunday.
It's a great mental. It is that thing that I found. Like I was kind of the same way, and it kind of gave me. I'm not saying it has to be bread, but some kind of thing like that, where it's something that grounds you.
I think I'm gonna write a book.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I've been gearing up for that over the last couple of days. I've been thinking I need like some sort of a project to wrap my head around, other than all the shit that I'm already doing.
I'm writing one right now. I have a deadline in May.
How many pictures is in it?
There better be a lot.
I don't read books without pictures,
If I had to hand it in right now, it would have to have a lot of pictures. That's a
Let's
bear.
do a photo shoot, you and me. It's me and Tom. Hey, we're at a podcast. Hey.
Why are there 20 pictures of you and Joe Rogan?
We need to fill pages.
Well,
Can I have my check, please?
I wasn't writing a lot that month.
You said 200 pages. It's got 200 pages. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah, that would be perfect. It's a bear.
Well, I used to do blogs all the time, and I think at the very least, I'm gonna start writing blogs again. Because
You should do a book. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I as a fan and a friend would like that there would be a Joe Rogan book out there.
I'm gonna lie about it. Everything. I'm gonna make up stories. I'm gonna make
That
like
would be
a
a good
gonzo
book.
journalism book where I'm gonna have like some aspects of my life, and then it'll be like remember when Chuck Barris,
Chuck Barris.
they did a whole movie about him being an assassin for the government.
He was the host of the Gong Show and killing people for the CIA.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna like have most of real stories of like my childhood intertwined with like murderers and werewolves and fucking
That's a great
vampires.
book. Call it Truth or Not.
You see this fucking latest
Bad
shit about
title.
WikiLeaks saying that the CIA has access to all of our phones?
Vault 7.
Yeah.
The leaks today. Yeah.
What
I
is?
didn't look through it yet.
Pull up an
What is it?
article because Edward Snowden was saying that it's not whether or not they can access, whether they have access to your encrypted shit. It's like that they've hacked Android and iOS. Like they can get into Android and iOS. So if you're but here's the thing: they're saying they use it for espionage, right?
Right.
So like if the Russians are here, you want to find out what they're up to, you can hack into their phone, you can get their data. Well, they're doing it too. So like if somehow or another we stop the CIA from doing it.
Right.
Here's the question.
No.
Would you want if Russia's doing it and China's doing it?
And North Korea.
And then all of a sudden the CIA can't do it anymore. Aren't they at a disadvantage?
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like
I'm
we
with
don't
you.
know what the fuck we're doing. PSA, this incorrectly implies the CIA hacked these apps / encryption, but the docs show iOS / Android are what got hacked, a much bigger problem. It says still working through the publications, but what WikiLeaks has here is genuinely a big deal, looks authentic. See, but I feel like we have to be very careful if other people are doing things.
Right.
So, like, if you talk to people in the intelligence community, and I don't talk to a lot of them, but I have talked to a few, what they will tell you is you have to understand that what the majority of the American public thinks is going on in the world and what their motives are and what kind of espionage and fucking dirty tricks take place. And it's way worse than you think it is, and
Yeah.
you're way lucky that you're sheltered from all this stuff. And there's some bad fucking things that are going on in the world.
Yeah.
And one of those things is, I mean, what you're looking at in Russia right now is like an emerging superpower run by a dictator.
Yeah.
And anybody who opposes him winds up dead.
Yeah.
Have you seen all those fucking Russians that have wound up dead recently? They're
Yeah.
attached to these leaks. Wasn't there, like, what's the latest
There
count?
was 6 yesterday. I don't know if it.
I think there was a seventh
Jeez.
one yesterday that died.
Just taking people out.
People are just mysteriously getting whacked, and they're billionaires.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're whacking billionaires.
Jesus.
They're just whacking people. You know too much? Oh, yeah? Come fish. Let's go fishing. These guys are disappearing. They're not fucking around, Tom Papa.
Do you
So
think they control? Do you think that they? Did they?
Look at that. Russian diplomats keep dying unexpectedly. Look at his face. Holy shit, he's just terrifying to me.
He is terrifying. He's like one of those hell pigs.
See, we want to think that the world has learned from Hitler and Stalin and Mussolini. The world's learned. They're not going to do that again. I don't buy that.
No.
What is
no
the number?
way.
What did they say the number was?
This says on here 6 have died since November. This was
So
on
does
the
it-
26th.
Since
So
the
doesn't that
election.
make you more frightened that they were interfering in our election?
Well, they certainly were aware of what was going on, and they certainly had access to some documents about the DNC. What concerns me is people that are ignoring, although that is an issue for sure, right? But they're ignoring that what they did was they let us know about some horrible shit that the Democrats were up to, where they were rigging the primaries and fucking over Bernie Sanders because he was too powerful and too dangerous to Hillary Clinton. So they colluded. They all used, they conspired rather, and they all used their influence to fuck over Bernie Sanders. And then saying that the Russians hacked the election because they exposed that the Democrats are a bunch of cheating creeps is kind of disingenuous, because yes, they did hack the election because they did release some of that information, so they did have an impact on it, but that impact was essentially the truth and something that we really deserve to know in the first place. We deserve to know the inner workings of the DNC. We deserve to know that they are getting in the way of democracy. They're rigging it.
Yeah. Well, they're,
Yeah, they're rigging it. They wanted-
politics is always dirty. There's always
it's
that
not
stuff.
politics. It's illegal. What they were doing was wrong. Like what they were doing was they were interfering with the democratic process. Whether or not it's illegal could be argued in court and maybe should be.
Right.
But it's most certainly not what anybody wants. We
No.
don't want the DNC to dictate who the winner of the primary is. We
No,
want
we
the
also-
people to dictate it.
We also didn't want Joe Kennedy putting. People didn't want Joe Kennedy putting his bribing and stealing votes for his son to be elected.
Sure.
This stuff is always go on.
but that doesn't excuse it.
But the
we
sidling up to that guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
That guy, for whatever reason it is, he wants to defeat us, right? So any kind of influence, and that people within that campaign are now they're getting caught talking to them, and then they lied about it for some reason. They didn't want people to know, whatever that was about, and now you have this foreign enemy who is now sidled up with a lot of the people who are now running our government.
Right.
A government, by the way, that is hell-bent on tearing a lot of stuff down.
You're right. But the only reason why it worked at all was because the Democrats were involved in shady shit. It's not like they made up some stuff.
Right.
So
She's
but
not.
you see what I'm saying?
Yes, she's dirty. They were dirty.
Yeah.
The
Well,
DNC was dirty. But okay, I'll give you that.
The result's not good. The
No.
result's not good.
No.
You know, having Donald Trump win in this fashion and having the Russians interfere and then also
Right.
having some sort of an influence on him financially.
Right.
All those things are not good.
Yeah.
But it's a little disingenuous to
say
ignore
that-
the fact that Hillary was a terrible candidate.
Yes.
She was so compromised from so many different angles. I mean, she didn't support gay marriage until 2013, I think it was.
Yeah.
She didn't. She not only that. Like the Clinton Foundation is just a disaster. Like the whole thing
No,
is just filled with scary shit.
Yeah, and look, she was definitely disliked by a lot of people from being there for a lot of time doing stuff that made a lot of people very nauseous.
Well, she was.
I get all that.
She was
I
not
mean,
honest.
But I don't want to. I don't want to go back and redo the election. But
Right.
just does it concern you that if, let's say, let's be
I'll
conspiracy
just say
theories
yes.
on
It
this.
definitely concerns me.
Let's
All
say
of it
that the
concerns me.
Russians have so much more influence over this president. Mm-hmm. He's, by the way, putting his America first is using Russian steel for that pipeline that's going through the Indians. If he's that tied to them, and Russia's an enemy of ours, they want us to fail, and now they have an administration that wants to tear stuff down. Could that be a conspiracy theory on that side?
It certainly could, but here's the problem. You're saying they, like the Russians, they
Right.
want to do this, they want to do that. We're buying their steel. They don't operate as an individual. You know, they're a
Well,
bunch of people that are
but
trapped in this dictatorship with this
It's
Russian
Putin.
oligarch. Yeah, well, it is
Right?
Putin, but it's when you are buying things. If you're buying things from Russians, are there individuals over there, or is everything Russia, an entity, and that
Right.
entity wants us dead,
Right.
wants us doomed? Isn't it possible?
No, it's not the people.
Well, isn't it possible that their government can evolve, like, and they can eventually not have that guy in place, that there's something could take place,
Yeah.
and they could also prosper from this age of information, and that
100%.
Right, and
People
then-
to people, 100%.
yeah. I
But
mean,
this guy is doing this thing.
I don't know what he's doing.
with our guy.
I don't
I'm
know what he's
saying if
doing.
this conspiracy, like, to take the fantasy of
Yeah.
are these guys right? Because like you're saying, the WikiLeaks exposed that of the DNC. There's also a lot of dirty stuff we don't even know right now that's going on.
For sure.
On both sides. Let's just take this fantasy of, okay, so Putin is really aggressively wanted this administration in. They wanted a Bannon who wants to tear stuff down. This is an advantage for us.
Right.
If you can expose that, I think that's a big deal.
yeah, if
It's
you can
also a
but,
scary
hold on, but
thing.
here's the problem: you're making a bunch of stuff up in order because it
Yeah,
make it
no,
more
I said
scary.
it's a fantasy.
Yeah, but that's.
I'm
I get what you're saying, but I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to do it. Of course, you could, and it's something that should be considered. But it's a weird thing when you start making up motives and potential outcomes. And look, it's not good. Having this guy.
I mean, that's why they're investigating. They're trying
Yeah.
to find the answers of what this stuff really is.
Well, there's all sorts of shit that's not good. There's all sorts of shit that's not good about this whole situation.
Yeah.
There's there's way too much power and influence by one person, and that person's cabinet and that person's choices, like what choice they make on the rest of us, and we're seeing that now. It's way too much.
It's way too much.
And it's more than we've ever seen before. We've never seen someone come in with this sweeping brush of change
Yeah.
and just decide, nope, fuck Obamacare, nope, building that fucking wall, nope,
Yeah.
we're running those pipes, nope, Dakota Pipeline, fuck you, we're coming through. Like, whoa, it's happening within the first 60 days.
Doesn't it seem a lot of it's mean?
Mean?
Let's take,
Dakota
I vote
Pipeline
on both
seems
sides. Dakota Pipeline seems mean.
Seems
Dumping
scary.
waste into the water seems mean.
What is that waste in the water? What are they dumping?
Coal waste.
Where's that?
They made it illegal in West Virginia so that you couldn't dump
And now
coal
you can
waste.
dump it again?
And now you can dump it again. I want talk about shutting down
That's scary.
PBS.
Well, those guys suck, though. They're
No.
boring. They're
They're
always monotone.
I know
always
they're
asking
boring.
for donations.
But this is all mean shit. Like,
If
why
you could
go after the
donate,
people
it would be
making cooking
amazing.
shows?
'Cause those people are attacking him, right? Is that what it is?
No, it's always a Republican thing. I think it's just to get people mad. But you know what I mean? Like, just can't you act out of kindness?
If you enjoyed any part of this program and you'd like to donate, please do. We survive on donations. We appreciate you. I always think that those guys just can't wait to, as soon as that fucking show's on, they run home and put a ball gag on and punch themselves in the dick and just they're so tied down. That's so not how a man thinks or talks.
It's so
Thank
funny.
you for tuning in to PBS.
Very
Thank
interesting.
You. Fresh Air with Terry Gross is up next.
Very interesting. We're going to talk about...
Who are you? Who are you, fuck? What would you do if a terrorist attack was happening right now? What would you do if a man came in with his dick in his hand and wanted to fuck your mouth?
Well,
How would you react?
well, I mean, there's probably a reason he wants to do that.
Wow, we have to understand that I'm not consenting. I'm not consenting to you doing this to me.
There's probably a very good reason. His father probably did it to him, and I just don't... you know what I mean? It feels like we come from a
Yes.
place of kindness rather than...
Well, he's about prosperity right now. He's ramping up the prosperity. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I think he feels like he can get people to love him again, and get the country on track if he creates all these jobs. That's why he had this big video announcement
great.
yesterday where he was talking about Exxon investing in the Gulf Coast, and they're going to get all these jobs, and there's going to be like 45,000 jobs, and the jobs are going to be paying $100,000 on the average. So all these great jobs, and he's very excited about announcing that. Most likely.
It's all tied to oil. It's all tied to oil.
That's where the money is, and resources, right?
In that model, in that old model. You don't. It doesn't have to be that model.
But he wants to get America
Tesla's
back on
putting
track.
tons of people to work. Thousands.
They're also killing people. They're fucking driving cars. They're killing people. I love how people have brought up 2 people have died.
Yeah, 2. Please, who are acting like schmucks, by the way.
Yeah.
Who are like looking at videos on his iPad.
Dude, autonomous cars are coming, whether you like it or not.
Oh, it's the best.
Do you do it with yours?
Yeah.
You turn your Tesla on, just start peating off?
Yes. I'm hard right now that you just said Tesla.
Do you do it everywhere, or just on the highway, or how do you do it?
On the freeway, yeah.
And do you put your hands on the wheel at all?
Sometimes, a little bit. Yeah, I'll keep them loose on it, but sometimes if it's traffic, I don't touch it at all, and I'm just returning emails.
You're returning emails while you're driving.
I'm not driving. The car's driving.
That's so nuts, man.
Yeah, if you're in traffic, just going to,
and so
the car takes over.
It takes the exit that it's supposed to take. Drives to your house.
You got to do that. You take over when you leave it.
Oh,
it's the next version that comes out the end of this year is going to do.
What do you mean by when you leave it?
The freeway.
Oh, so it only works on the freeway?
No, it works on the side streets, but it doesn't read stop signs or traffic lights.
What kind of piece of shit is this?
It hasn't got the update. It needs the GPS and all this other stuff to work to do surface streets. Because when it's on the freeway, the car is reading the cars in front of it, around it,
but doesn't have GPS.
And the signs for how fast
deer
you go. Deer crossing.
To read those.
Deaf child.
No, Mexicans running across the family. That's the most depressing fucking thing ever when you're driving from San Diego and you see that beware of immigrant crossing. There's like a mother holding a child's hand, the father's holding the mother's hand. Like, oh man. Let those fucking people come over here.
It's the worst. I was just in Mexico doing a gig, and I kept asking people about Trump. They would, they'd ask us about Trump, or the whole Mexican thing. And a couple of them, especially the last guy, was like, yeah, I know, everybody, I don't know, he seems bad, but have you met our president?
Oh, their president's terrible.
He's the most corrupt guy. He doesn't help any of us. He's awful. It was like, oh, right.
Yeah. He's way worse.
Your leader's a shithead, too.
Yeah.
All these leaders, all of them.
Yeah, and these are like the leaders that are probably like the best.
Yeah.
Like as you go, like how about that guy in the Philippines? It's just shooting people.
Yeah.
If you're out there doing drugs, I'm shooting you.
Right.
You're shooting drug dealers, killing everybody. You got to do what you got to do. Sorry.
Yeah, that's how I rule.
That's how I clean the streets up. Bullets. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I want to have a sandwich.
No, so I hit that Tesla, and it just especially when I drive to school in the morning and drop the kids off.
Don't you think now, I mean, I'm always trying to be this glasses half full guy. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that the reaction that people are having to all these new policies is going to invigorate our political system, because it's going to inspire people to act and to do something and to make some positive change, and that people are going to realize how important it is to get involved and what the consequences are to the environment, to the world, to the future, if we let someone come in and just solely concentrate on profits, which is what you're assuming that they're going to do.
Right.
And they're going to lean towards that, and they're going to lower the environmental protection agency's regulations and lower the standards for emissions and more pollution in the fucking coal mine shit and all that.
Because it's running it like a business.
People are going to have to react to that.
Yes, and it's
going to swing the other way.
There's actually an editorial of the guy who was the head of the EPA during Reagan, and he was warning Pruitt that Americans have a breaking point. They do not like it when they think that the environment and their health is in danger, because that's our families, that's our children, that's our lives. And Reagan came in and he was going to do some big sweeping things that were going to be more profitable and give us more jobs, and the fierce fight back from the Americans had to make them change course. So yeah, I think you're right. I think especially with that issue.
I think it's entirely possible that you could deal with eco-terrorism as well, Whereas someone could decide that this path is wrong and evil, and that the best way to subvert it would be to do something, blow something up or something. You know, have some sort of a reaction where you damage the company or damage the public image. Or, I mean, all this is really tricky 5-dimensional chess that these people are playing.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're dealing with foreign entities. Now, North Korea's tested nuclear or ballistic missiles, rather.
Yeah.
And Russia is, I mean, the whole
Apparently,
thing is,
that's what Obama told Donald Trump when he was coming in, that his greatest concern is North Korea.
of course. That
Yeah.
guy is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
He just killed his half-brother.
Right.
He had someone spray him.
Poison in an airport.
Yeah. Like, and then people that were doing it thought it was a prank.
Yeah, they were dressed like they were doing a prank.
Didn't they think they were doing a prank? They didn't realize? I believe that they didn't even realize that they were doing it.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Maybe I made that up.
No, I think you're right. No, it's a crazy world, Joe Rogan, but I think you got to have hope. And there's lots of good people out there doing good things.
And you can go see Tom Papa live at a stand-up comedy club near you.
Yeah.
Or clubs and colleges, occasionally theaters. Everywhere.
Or listen
And
to my podcast, Come to Papa.
Or watch his new special, which is now going to be out on Hulu.
It's coming on Hulu. When? Tomorrow? Yeah.
Oh, shit. What's it called?
And Amazon? It's called Human Mule.
Oh, wow. Like Drug Mule?
No,
What's it about?
a father.
Oh. Well,
Just a
Tom,
dad.
we got to do this more often. And I always say this, but I'm glad we did it quick compared to the last one.
Yeah,
It's
this
always
is good.
fun, man. Always fun talking to you.
I always love coming in. And I love your fans. Can I say your fans are great.
They're nice people, right?
They're such nice people. They
weird.
really are great people. You know, I've done some very popular radio shows where people are awful. You know, funny, but awful.
Right.
Your people are like, I get more responses of people asking about how to make bread and sending me their recipes and stuff, and just really funny. They would have seen us like perform together or whatever. They're just you have a cool crowd.
Well,
for
people
sure.
really enjoy you too, and the kind of perspective that you provided today, where you're leaning towards just being nicer and being kinder and not getting involved in any bullshit, and recognizing that that's what makes people happy. It's just to find a passion, follow it, enjoy yourself, live your life, be nice.
This is it.
This is it.
We are in prime time.
Yes.
If you are listening to this show, if you're doing this show, it's not. This is it.
This is it.
This is the good part.
This is it.
You're not getting more hair or stronger
This is
hips.
it. Doesn't get better.
We're peaking, everybody. We're peaking.
I'm feeling it. You're the best, Tom Papa.
Mighty
Thank
Joe.
you, brother.
You're
Thank
the
you so
best.
much. All right, folks. We'll see you soon. Bye.